Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello, and welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmie. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us on another wild, crazy edition. We've started out the year hot. We came into 2022 swinging, and we are going to keep on swinging, keep on going this week with a crazy episode. We're going to Australia this week for this one.
Oh, all right.
The Aussie episodes are always insane. Some of our...
They debauch better than everybody.
It's amazing. From Ben Cousins to the guy who drinks his own piss to the guy who gets his butthole bitten by rats in a Thai prison. Like, it's always a crazy episode. And this week, no exception. Absolutely bonkers. No, not a DUI or any of that crazy shit. This is a spree. We'll just put it that way, and we'll get into it. Before we do that, quickly, thank you for everything you do for us. First of all, reviews help a lot. Wherever you're listening, Spotify, you can review there now. Apple Podcasts, Audible even, you can review on Audible. So get on there and do that. That helps us out a lot. So if you want to help the show, good way to do that is to give a review. Also, you can go to shutupandgivememurder.com right now. Yes. Get your tickets for live shows coming up. The Crime and Sports show with tickets remaining, by the way. There is one in Sacramento in August with some tickets remaining. So get those. Also, get your tickets to the Small Town Murder virtual live show February 10th. Oh, baby. Can't wait for that. Those are so much fun. February the 10th. It'll be available for 72 hours after that. Going to be great. So get your tickets right now to that. Also, momenthouse.com/smalltownmurder. You can get your tickets either one of those places. But we suggest go to our website. You can get some merch. Get in the mood. Get yourself a mug to drink your booze from while you watch. It'll be a lot of fun. Do that. Patreon also this week cooking. Patreon.com/crime and sports. You are going to get good stuff. Anybody $5 or above, you're going to get access to everything Crime and Sports and Small Town Murders bonus material, I believe is what I'm looking for. This week, good stuff. First of all, for Crime and Sports, one I've been looking forward to for a long time, had on the list. We are going to talk about on-field incidents that caused off-field arrests. So,
real life consequences to sporting events.
To sporting events. When someone has gone so far over the sporting line that the police are involved instead of referees. Like, not the refs. There's no flags. Actual handcuffs are involved. There's some crazy shit goes on there. A lot of hockey stuff, by the way, in that. But
they're penalized for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Then for Small Town Murder, we're gonna get into the Tony Alamo cult a little bit. We talked about
a story.
We talked about a murderer on Small Town Murder that got wrapped up in the Tony Alamo cult, and the thing we're going to concentrate a lot is on the clothes they made, because they made like very popular celebrity clothes using slave cult labor. It's insane. Oh, still, the celebrities today wear this shit. It's about like the real ones from back in the day are thousands of dollars. It's insanity. We'll talk all about it. It's crazy.
Try to get that market to go away.
Oh, please, God. Patreon.com/crime and sports. Find out which one of your favorite celebrities wore a cult
something
labor
with
jacket.
Children's blood on it.
Oh, my goodness. So do that. You get access to everything, and you're going to get a shout out at the end of the show. Jimmie is going to mispronounce your name horribly while trying his best to get it right. And you're going to get that. And if you just want to go to PayPal and have good karma and get a shout out, you can do that using our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com. Let's do this, Jimmie. Let's do it.
All right.
Let's go overseas here. And we're headed out. And we're going to talk about a rugby player again. And we've talked about the team he's on before, because this team chock full of criminals. This is like the mid-90s Trailblazers, or like the Anytime Bengals, or you could name certain teams, the Raiders of this. Certain teams have reputations for having criminals. This early 70s Newcastle, it's insane how many people are on this fucking team.
What's their mascot for Newcastle?
I believe it is a man in handcuffs being taken into a courthouse. I'm not sure.
Okay. It's the jailbirds?
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about Newcastle, or who the hell he ended, or Newtown, not Newcastle. See, I fucked up already. Newtown. So anyway, we're going to talk about Garry Sullivan. Now, first of all, the one problem is the spelling of his name is an issue. Because
it changes?
You'd imagine Gary's a pretty simple name to spell.
No,
letters. It's not. Sometimes
2 R's?
Sometimes it's 2 R's, sometimes it's 1 R, depending on what you're finding and what publication they're talking about him in.
Perfect.
I don't know what his real name is. It's Gary with either 1 or 2 R's. It's really frustrating to look at it. And his last name is Sullivan. Garry Sullivan. He is born October the 18th, 1947.
Oh, he's an old man.
Older guy now, yes, indeed. He's from Newcastle. That's where the Newcastle came from in my brain.
Okay.
Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia. Yep. And if you are not familiar, we went over this in previous episodes, breaking down Australia's state structure and how that works. If you don't know, Australia is broken into a series of 8 states, all ruled by individual Crocodile Dundee knockoff types. It's a man in a crocodile vest with no shirt, varying sizes.
Teeth around his hat band.
Well, that just goes without saying, Jimmy. I figured they just, it's a given, So large knife by the side. Rules are very different. They vary greatly. They're basically it's run by Crocodile Dundee warlords is the problem. Paul Hogan runs his own quadrant, and with an iron fist he rules too. It's really
you gotta wait for your ruler to be stabbed in the chest by a stingray to get a new one.
That's what it is, and it only happens once every so often. It's not common. We get once a decade or so. It's more common than you'd imagine, but less common than really they need, I think.
Bindy's the queen of one of those places by now, isn't she?
Well, actually, she is being groomed to take over when Paul Hogan dies in his quadrant. That's kind of like the fame quadrant, all the famous people. Nicole Kidman only goes back there when she goes home. Russell Crowe's got a place there.
A couple weeks.
Yeah, that's that area is the only area. Otherwise, they'll be taken hostage.
Fascinating place.
This is kind of how it's so funny if you think about Australia. And this is what I love about doing Australian episodes, because we're all laughing. No one's laughing harder than people in Australia. They have the greatest sense of humor about what the rest of the world thinks when they think of Australia. They love it. They think it's the funniest. I love the Australian people.
Yeah.
God, the sense of humor.
And they're thrilled because if we learn about the place, we'll want it.
Yeah. So they're like, that's right.
Remain ignorant, you morons.
It's Paul Hogan just threatening people with knives while kangaroos fucking box men in the middle of the street. That's exactly what's happening. Whatever Bart Simpson did in that one episode with the frog and everything, that happens. The toilets are weird. Don't come here.
Stay the fuck out.
Leave us alone over here.
Stop ruining our reef.
I'm telling you, man. Yeah, you're destroying our reef. We've had it.
The shit you do in your country destroys our reef, so stay the fuck there.
They're just saying, yep, that's the Opera House. You seen it now? You done? You about done?
Fuck back.
The rest of it's a desert.
Lost, Nemo?
I don't know. The rest of it's a desert, and what the fuck? Go home now. Go home. Oh my God. It's so all the way there just to go to Arizona with a San Diego attached to it.
It's a long trip for Arizona and San Diego.
It's a long one, man. I'm telling you. Because when you go to San Diego from Arizona, you even go, well, that wasn't worth the trip.
Well, that was
just
long.
To go here. Yeah. And that's a whole fucking ocean. So anyway, New South Wales, Australia. He's his upbringing, honestly, I don't know much about it. It's not real documented. I do know that his mother is divorced and he has a stepfather. I'm positive of that because of the trouble he gets into later. Involves his stepfather. So
terrific.
And even when he's in his 40s, his stepfather and his mom are still married, so they seem to have a stable relationship. So I mean, that's a plus in his life. We've in a lot of our stories we don't get that, so that's good.
It's a silver lining.
It's a silver lining. I mean, the things they choose to do together, strange, but definitely bonding experiences, I would say. What a
great!
Wow, this is fucking insane. So he, in 1966, who was he? I'll make him 18, 19 years old here. He begins playing for Curry Curry, which is
that right?
Kurri, Curry.
Okay.
The Curry Curry Bulldogs, according to, just internet at this moment, are known as a semi-professional rugby league. I feel like it was maybe like a minor league. You know how all these work. You have to play in kind of the juniors sort of a deal. It's in New South Wales, formed in 1911, so it's an old team. No fly-by-night shit here. And apparently he plays for them for like 4 years, and then he ends up with going to play for Newtown. They're the Jets, the Newtown Jets.
Gotcha.
Remember, we've talked about them before. The Dawsons, they had was it Phil Dawson and his twin brother were both on the team, and Phil was the one who I believe got caught with trafficking heroin and ended up in a Thai prison, and rats bit his asshole.
Right.
Correct?
When he went to sit.
When he went to shit in the toilet hole, rats would come up and bite your asshole, which might be the scariest thing we've ever heard in crime and sports ever. Like, that's
a bad prison.
We've heard of murders and all this crazy shit, dismemberments and everything, but never, every time you take a shit, to worry about rats
wildlife
biting your
grazing on your stink star. That's no good.
Thai prison rats that live in the shithole. Those are the special kind of rat. This isn't your.
I think I'd rather be raped.
I mean, it's biting your asshole, so it's kind of pretty close, honestly. Yeah, it's depends on what kind of damage you're looking to get, but
there's still blood involved.
Either way, I don't know what's worse in a prison. I don't know what I'm more scared of here. I mean, I feel like if you told prisoners who are, in a terrible prison and you said, listen, at least when you take a shit, rats don't bite your asshole, they'd probably go, wow, I didn't even know that was an option. Good, yeah. You know what? You're right. This isn't so bad. Good Lord.
Warden, I've been raped. Were there rats eating your asshole?
Yeah. Well,
what kind of question is that?
By humans or rats? Huh? That's bad. So he starts playing for them in 1970, and they're in the Premier League. They're like the main league here. He's moving up to the majors, the New South Wales Rugby League Premiership. Okay. He ends up, that's a long, by the way, the NSWRFL Premiership is a lot to say.
Sure is.
That's a lot. So they were in the Premiership from 1908 to 1983. They had some problems after that where they were... they had to get knocked down. I don't know if it's
removed.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like soccer in like
poor performance. Yeah.
British soccer, poor performance, which is amazing. You're like, awesome. Well, you're not in the B League. You're in the B League this year, fuckers. Right. Do better next time, and you'll get.
Right.
I think that's pretty cool.
Represented by you.
Yeah, you have to keep a certain level of performance. The Cleveland Browns would have not been in the NFL. For the
past 5 years, the Lions would be playing Bama.
5 years. Jesus Christ. The last fucking 20 years. Since Barry Sanders retired, they'd be playing there. The Browns, literally, since they came back, would be there.
Yeah.
Done. They've never been good. They made the playoffs once or twice or some shit. They were known as and this is wild here, they didn't get the Jets nickname till 1973.
Oh.
Not till now. Before that, they were known as the Newtown Blue Bags, which...
Oh, no. Why? Why would they do that?
The Blue Bags?
No.
What is that? They might as well call them the Dry Humps.
Out of this.
Call them the Dry Humps if you're going to call them the Blue Bags.
Sweet Christ.
That is terrible.
The Newtown on top of the clothes? Is that what this is?
Newtown just only on top of the clothes.
The Newtown Bad Handies.
My God. The Newtown, her parents came home.
The Newtown, did you hear that?
Did you hear that? God, the Newtown, just the teenage fucking blue nutsack. That is awful.
I suppose you can't do Newtown teen rubbers because that sounds horrible.
That sounds bad. Yeah, that sounds like they make condoms for teenagers, whereas at least this sounds like they're keeping something in reserve. You know what I mean? They're holding back.
What? Why would they? How long do they have that?
About, what are we going to say? About 65 years. So,
65 years.
It wasn't just like a couple of years. Jesus, that's a terrible idea. The Jets sound cool. No. 65 years.
Fucking years of being called the Blue Bags.
The Blue Bags. How much were you made fun of? How much were you... I mean, people just making like a jerking off gesture at you, like, go ahead and finish up. So that is just they didn't get the Jets nickname till 73. So
Jesus Christ.
When Sullivan came on the team in 70, they were known as the Blue
he played
Bags.
for the Blue Bags.
He's like, I'm a Blue Bag. Good news, everybody. I'm a Blue Bag. Me and all the other Blue Bags will be over in a little while.
Unbelievable.
That is just a crazy fucking name. Apparently, it's this team's where they play or where they practice is close to the airport. That's how they got the Jets.
Okay. I don't know. That makes sense.
I mean, that's where I assume that's how the New York Jets got the Jets. Well, I know they just wanted a spiffier name, something more like
sound better,
something modern. They were going for modern,
jazzy.
The Jets. They were the Titans before that, which didn't sound as. That sounds very old. I mean, like Greek old, like fucking thousands of years old. It's very old. You want to get something a little more modern. So they. 1983, when they were bumped out of the league, I guess it was financial pressures forced them out. I don't know if they tried to seek readmission all the time and all this sort of shit, but I guess they had a lot of financial problems. I don't know how that worked. They had a plan to change their name and all this type of shit and get a new logo and change everything else. I guess they were. I don't know if they're in there now. Are they in there now or not? I can't even tell by this. I don't even fucking know what happened. I guess they have different they're a different team now, I guess. They didn't, what the fuck? Oh my God, I don't know what's happening. This makes no sense to me.
Okay.
I don't understand rugby or the league, so I'm reading this. I wrote it, I put it in a thing and I'm reading it, and it made no sense when I was putting it in there. And I'm like, maybe by the time I get to the point of reading it on the show,
when I'm stoned, that'll help.
It's going to help. And you know what? It's not. I don't know anything about rugby, and weed doesn't give me spontaneous rugby knowledge. I just figured out, which is amazing. It says, ultimately, when the final deal between Newtown and the Campbelltown Liverpool Junior Rugby League fell through in 1984, and it was confirmed by 1985 that Newtown would not be returning to top-flight competition, the Ashfield Lidcombe-based Western Suburbs Magpies, suspended by the league at the same time as Newtown, but having had the financial resources to earn a stay of execution, negotiated a deal for the 1987 season, whereby Wests would move all home games to Campbelltown and claim ownership of the vast junior league in southwestern Sydney. Did that make any sense to you at all?
No.
I don't know what that means, everybody.
That means somebody bought their way back in, but I don't know who.
And it's fucked up because there's an entire continent out there going, "Oh, stupid. Yeah, that makes fucking sense." What the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Why are you so confused?
We're fine with this. This is totally fine. This makes perfect sense to us. And we have no fucking idea. So 1970, he plays for Newtown. Again, we don't know how many appearances he has. We do know he has 2 T's. I don't know what that is, but there's a T category. He's got 2 of those and 6 points. So that's impressive, I guess. 71, same performance. Same performance there.
2 and 6?
2 and 6. Now, 72, he's up to 6 T's.
Oh.
So that's good.
Those are tries, right?
I think they are. And then he's got 18 points. So we did the math, and it's a 3 times 3 system here. So 6 times 3 is 18. So these tries must be 3 points. And it gives you 18 points. I'm not sure.
There you go.
He's also in international play. He does stuff here from 70 to 70 and 72, he's in international play.
Okay.
He was only in 6 games with Newtown before he selected for Australia's World Cup squad for rugby.
Right.
And I guess they won too. So
wow.
his position. I don't know what the fuck this means. At lock. I guess that's a position in rugby.
You know what it is, James? It's champion. That's what he is.
He's a champion. He's at this point, champion. You know what?
Champion.
Grace. Let's just say it right now. Grace. He's a world champion, and he's playing in a premier rugby team. We won't say their names, the Blue Bags, and make it a little, take some of the shine off of it.
Yeah,
but
we don't sully this reputation.
He's
We'll let
playing.
him do it.
Yeah, he's in the majors.
Yeah.
He's in the majors, and he's carrying an oversized football while other white guys try to tackle him. That's what's going on. I believe.
Blue bags across the chest.
And they're just scrumming each other like crazy.
Yeah.
You get blue bag from scrumming. That's the thing.
That's true, yeah.
When you're scrumming, you're always going to get a blue bag out of it. And that's
yeah.
I mean, scrumming's great while you're scrumming. But then afterwards, when you got your blue bags happening, then you're like, you know what? I don't even know why I bothered scrumming.
Maybe I shouldn't have scrummed so hard.
I shouldn't have scrummed so hard. I should have pulled back on the scrum. Because, now I got to scrum by myself, and that's not as fun. So I got to have an auto scrum, and nobody wants that.
I don't even. I wish I knew more. I really do.
We tried to figure it out, though. It's
fucking impossible.
It's
it
impossible.
Truly is. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me. No matter how many times I read, watch, I can watch the fucking game.
We tried. Cricket, you can kind of get a handle
feel
on.
For it? Yeah.
This makes no. It looks like chaos, and I have no idea. And
cricket looks to me like unathletic baseball.
Exactly.
But this looks like
baseball for
fucking,
rich guys. Baseball for stockbrokers is what it looks like. Like, we won't let any of those poor athletic people play.
Yeah, I don't want anybody to get hurt.
Stick to our inbred blue blood asses. There we go. Give it a nice half swing and knock it on out there. This is a different.
Rugby feels like I would really love to fight. I just need it to look like I'm playing a sport.
Yeah, let's get a ball. Yeah. Let's get a ball so we can have a legal fucking fight here in the middle of the.
Just so I can punch somebody legally.
Rugby, and it's funny because Australians realize it makes no sense too, because they'll put out. It makes sense to them if they watch it the whole time, but I've seen memes from Australia where it's just rugby's easy, and then it's 4,700 things, and they're like, see, how easy is that? What the fuck are you talking? And they know it's a joke. It's fucking ridiculous. So,
yeah.
I mean, and like I said, American football, if you just tried to introduce it from scratch, would make no sense either. Yeah, everybody does this, only one guy in motion, and he can do that. If you got into really the complicated, no fucking, your tackle has to be covered on the end, people be like, what the fuck does that mean? That makes no sense. But if you watch it enough, it makes sense. So I get it.
Calling it illegal shifts, and people are like, what the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah.
Look, man, I've watched it for 25 years. Don't ask me. The ref just said it's whatever they did, they can't do it.
And I went, yeah, because I get it.
Because that guy moved when he was set. I don't fucking know.
God
Who cares?
damn you.
They're moving back 5 yards. That's what it means.
It means that's a penalty. So I assume that people in rugby do the same thing, and then they pretend like they know.
Means now they have 3 tries to go 15 yards. Fuck them.
So in 70 and 70, I don't know what happened in the 72 one here, but in 70, he had 8 appearances, 2 tries, 6 points. They had 4 wins, 3 losses, and 1 draw. And overall from 70 and 72.
Seems pretty good.
It seems okay. Yeah, why not? Now, it's set. I'm going to tell you this is just something from a rugby site that makes no sense to me, but maybe it'll make sense to an Australian person. Let's see if I'm speaking Australian, Jimmy. Let's find out. Yeah. By the way, I didn't say this at the top of the show, but I should always say this when we're dealing with sports that are outside of our purview and shit that we know nothing about. We beg you to find our ignorance charming. Please. We mean nothing by it. We don't know what the fuck we're talking about. The crime part, we know we're good there, but this is going to be difficult. Okay. Now, quote, following Ron Coote's decision to stand down from representative football in 1972, I mean, when Ron Coote steps down, obviously at that point, everything
like
changes.
A good decision at the time. Yeah,
everything changes in the world when Ron Coote. We all know where we were when Ron Coote stepped down. We all knew. So Ron Coote didn't play. So in 1972, Sullivan made his New South Wales debut before being selected in 2 tests against New Zealand. He scored 2 tries in Australia's 36-11 win, which that doesn't sound like a correct score. 11? Who did I get 11? What is that? A touchdown, a fucking 2-point conversion, and a field goal? It's a terrible. How does that work?
Touchdown and 2 safeties.
I was going to say three field goals and a safety. What are we working with here? This is terrible. 36-11 win at the SCG. The SCG, Jimmy, that's prestigious, as we all know. My medal hangs on my wall prominently. Before playing in the second test in Brisbane. At the end of the year, Sullivan was selected for Australia's 1972 World Cup campaign. He was selected to play at lock forward. That's what lock is. It's one of the forward positions. See, we learn if you read.
Explain it and actually use the words, not a fucking
no shorthand.
Shortened bullshit.
No shorthand, Australia. The world doesn't understand you. We think there's kangaroos boxing men in the streets while Paul Hogan rules over everything. Do you understand? You're not representing yourselves well.
Right.
Help us help you. We can't. You got blue bags and Ron Coote. This is not good, man. This isn't our fault.
And you're throwing the word lock out there like I'm supposed to get it?
Like I get
you know
that.
Nobody understands your fucking sport. Just explain it.
Yes, exactly. Explain it to us, you bastards. So, he was selected to play lock forward in the tournament final against Great Britain, which was drawn at 10-10. How the fuck do you have a draw in a tournament final? If it's a tournament final, you play till somebody fucking wins. It's a goddamn
play
tournament.
Play till they die. I don't give a fuck.
You play, yeah. There's no.
Got to be a winner.
In every playoff sport in America, there's no such thing as a tie because it's the playoffs, so someone must be eliminated.
Right.
They're like, well, let's both feel good about each other. Like, what is this about? No, someone's got to lose.
So hard.
Someone has to lose, damn it. So 72-73. What is this now? NSW City Firsts? What the hell does that mean?
New South Wales
City Firsts. I don't know if that's another team he played for. Like, is that their minor league team or something?
Or is that another league championship? Is that what that is?
I don't know. He had 3 appearances and a try, though, in 72. Okay. And in 73, he had 1 appearance there. So... Oh. Like I said, I don't know if that's like, do you send a guy down to the minors to rehab an injury or something? Maybe, I don't know how that works. 72, though, he had 6 tries for Newtown with 18 points, so crushing it. And 73, he had 2 tries for 6 points there, so production went down. He
feels like a peripheral player, right?
Yeah, I mean, they keep saying he's a star.
Really?
There's a big article about his twisted ankle. That seems like that means something, right?
Yeah. They're talking about his injury.
This is from August 31st, 1973, from his Australian newspaper I found here. Garry Sullivan, Newtown's Rugby League International, will miss Sunday's semi-final game against St. George and probably the Kangaroo Tour as well. See?
Oh, no.
You can't miss the Kangaroo Tour.
He's going to miss the Roo?
You can't miss the Round Roo. That's a tour that the Round Roo is everything. Isn't it?
I do appreciate that they jokingly call it the Kangaroo. That's hilarious.
The Kangaroo Tour.
It doesn't get any more Australian than that.
No, but they're not even joking. They didn't even know that everyone thought that was hilarious. This is the early 70s. Paul Hogan is not a glint in the world's eye at this point. We don't even know who he is. We don't know Crocodile Dundee. We don't know shit. In 1972, if you ask people, what do you know about Australia? They'd go, wow.
They talk funny.
Shit. Kind of talk like kind of British, right? Yeah. Isn't that like a prisoners or something? I don't know.
I like prisoners that have like hillbilly British language. Is that what it is?
It's like the West Virginia of Britain, right? No? Shit. I don't know. Kinda. So, anyway, Sullivan, it says, a member of the last 2 World Cup teams has torn cartilage in his right knee. Oh, no. That seems bad for rugby, I would imagine.
He sat too long.
That's what it is. See, we figured that out last week, that if you can't your knees will just, they harden up like concrete if you rest it. You have to really
just jump out there and start sprinting, they disintegrate.
They'll explode. That's the thing, is they're just stiff like concrete and they break right up into little pieces and it turns to dust. Yeah. Just dust cartilage after a while. Can't let your knees set. You'll really get fucked up. So they say he'll know within 10 days whether he must have an operation. I guess they're going to see how they harden over the next 10 days.
Yeah. See if they set up.
See if they're set up to really harden good or if they're going to stay soft, and then you can be cool.
See if that slurry comes back together.
Yeah, otherwise you're going to need surgery, obviously, if they get too hard,
Yeah.
So at Henson Park last night, Sullivan did not even attempt a training run with the Newtown team, preparing for Sunday's big clash. Following his withdrawal, Newtown will field the team that scored such a convincing win over Canterbury at the sports ground last Sunday. Sullivan said he'd been working desperately in a bid to play, but his injured knee had not responded to treatment. He says, quote, "It's a matter of waiting to see what develops." That's all he can say. They say I love how they describe him. It's a matter of waiting to see what develops, the broad-shouldered second rower said as he watched the Newtown teammates go through their training session.
Fuck, that's hot.
You hot son of a bitch, you. The broad-shouldered blue bag told me.
Yeah.
I finished him right off, as a matter of fact. He said, "The doctor does not think I need an operation, but that will be decided later on."
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer. I can really show you how to make some money. And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Sullivan added he did not give himself any chance now of being even considered for the Kangaroo Tour. He's going to miss the round roo, Jimmie. It's over, man. He's going to regret that for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of those things you get to do, is the round roo, and it's been a dream of mine since I was a young boy, and I'm never going to get to do it.
Now that I know it's called the round roo, I sure want to be a part of it.
I want to be a part of it. Sullivan, considered by some to be a strong candidate for selection in the touring team, had been playing top-class football before his injury. If he is out of calculations, perhaps the specialists' report to which cleared Beath to play again will be of vital interest to the national selectors. Yeah. So they're trying to figure out if he's the man to represent him on the Roo. He's got to be healthy, is what it is. You're not gonna. It's like the dream team with Stockton with his broken leg. It's like, well, what the hell did you bring him for then? No good. So this
no use to us.
Between the blue bags and everything else, this is all very shocking, Jimmie. It
really is. Yeah.
It's surprising and it's shocking, but not nearly as shocking as the sales, Jimmie.
Oh, Christ.
The sales from 1970. If you happen to be in Sydney, Australia in 1973, we have some sales for you, boy. Get to the store and get cracking.
Oh, Christ.
First of all, get yourself a bottle of Bell's Scotch whiskey.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that still exists.
Bell's, the largest selling whiskey in Scotland, it claims.
Oh.
Yeah. And on the label, in like a quote, it says, before ye go. So take a shot for the road. This is
Take this.
Bell's, the road whiskey.
This is your walking whiskey.
Take a shot before you strap in behind the wheel. Traffic can be stressful. Want to be nice and loose out there in traffic. Make sure to have fresh alcohol on your breath while driving.
You got your road whiskey.
Get your road booze here. Your road bells. It says Old Scotch
so
whiskey.
Funny.
Man.
Before you go.
Before ye go. It's amazing.
It's hysterical.
In quotes, too, on the label, which is amazing. Or you can get yourself I got to show you this picture, Jimmy. Check this out. I'll turn the screen towards you. Look at this bad boy here. Look at this guy.
Man.
How toasted does he look? How drunk and happy is that guy?
So happy wasted. Is that the whiskey?
The whiskey here is Lindemans Montillo Sherry, and it says the old smoothie. And that's under the guy who looks shit hammered off sherry. He's been.
It almost says cherries, so drink it.
He's
for
like
breakfast.
Look at that. And it says, enjoy the sherry you can be proud of. Gold medal Montillo, Montillo cream sherry, Montillo sweet sherry, Montillo semi-sweet sherry, Montillo medium dry sherry, Montillo dry sherry in bottles or half-gallon flagons.
Half
gallon. Still,
that's a handle.
That is, man. That's a lot.
Handle of sherry for breakfast.
That's wow. You need like a backpack for that to bring it around with you. Still only 97 cents.
What?
97 cents for a bottle of sherry that gets that guy looking that happy. He really looks thrilled. He's like, I just fought a kangaroo and I'm feeling fine.
What's the alcohol content of sherry?
Let's see. Product of Australia.
It's got to be like sippable, so it's probably somewhere in the like 20s or 30s, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not as much as vodka, more than wine,
right.
I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So maybe probably 15%, something like that.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Some wine's that high, James.
That's true. I mean, Fraser and Niles were always drinking it in place of wine on Fraser. So
sherry, really?
Sherry was like they'd have sherry or wine. So
I don't think I've ever had it. It
sherry?
seems like yeah.
I don't think I've ever had sherry either. Isn't it like I know there's cooking sherry that people use, but I've never said let's drink sherry. Seems like something an old lady would drink. You know, pour me a little cup of that sherry, and you'd be like, "Oh, okay, Grandma, here you go."
Google that shit.
Yeah.
Should I find out what the fucking alcohol content?
Grandma
is?
takes a little nip once in a while, and she likes that sherry. I don't even know what it is.
Alcohol content of how do you spell sherry? Is it SH?
SHERRY. Or one R, depending on your spelling of Gary or Sherry or whatever the fuck it is. But this is Lindemans Montillo Sherry. I don't know if that exists anymore. But yeah, what's the general?
It's like they call it sherry wine.
Okay, so it's like wine.
Okay, so 16 to 20%.
Okay, so there you go.
It's certainly sippable.
So this guy, that's why this guy looks like that.
That guy's having a great day.
He looks wine drunk. He really does.
He really does.
Now you can.
I guess I didn't realize it was that low. Then in Mexico, tequila is like that. Tequila's low content like that.
Drink more of it.
Yeah, drink it all day because it's supposed to taste good. It's not supposed to be fucking like Cuervo disgusting.
It's supposed to like go with food too, I think, because that's
right.
a wine in Italy. The whole point is it goes with food.
Right.
It pairs with food well, and that's how you do it. So,
but they always show like that old trope of a guy in a sombrero with a bottle of tequila, and he's like drinking, and you think like that guy would be fucking dead if he drank that.
Yeah, luckily for him, he drinks every day like a monster, apparently, because then it doesn't affect him as much. But
it's because the alcohol content in actual Mexican tequila is low, so that you can do that, and it's fucking delicious.
I bet. Yeah, if you take half the alcohol out of it, it's not going to burn as much. You can actually taste flavors in it.
Right.
I love that and shit when you're like, oh, this has hints of this and that, and it's like it's 50% alcohol. It doesn't have hints of shit except burn.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
You're about to lose your sense of taste anyway.
Tasting shit. What are you talking about? Ridiculous. So I also found an ad, buy your own home this weekend at Lakewood. You can get 1-bedrooms houses starting at $22,500.
Wow.
That's a good price. 2 bedrooms, $28,500. You have you get a large balcony or patio overlooking the courtyard gardens and swimming pool. The kitchen is just right with a wall oven, double bowl sinks, and fantastic decor. Oh my! Look at this. New release of financing is available. You can browse through 2 different display homes.
Yeah.
And it's put out by Hooker Home Units.
Hell yeah.
Sponsor of the Blue Bags. Well, no, they would. They wouldn't. If you go to Hooker, your problems are solved.
There will be no blue bags around here.
No. Then I found an ad for just, quote, this is in bold letters, basic religious questions. There's a picture of this guy on here who looks real stiff. He hasn't had as much sherry as the other guy. Doesn't look quite as happy. And it says, basic religious questions answered by Alan Walker on Sunday night at the Lyceum Theater. They're going to have a Fijian choir. At 7 p.m., the discussion is, after death, what?
Then what?
After death, ... what? Question mark. That's literally what it says.
That's going to be a long talk.
What happens then, everybody? Then we're going to have a folk gospel trio in there. This is a fucking party. Doesn't say when, just says Sunday night. Oh, there's the times there. You have to put it together, though. Then I found a bunch of job applications here, or not applications, a bunch of help wanteds in the classified of the newspaper.
Yeah.
And there's just some stuff I don't understand. One is a gyprock fixer. What the hell is a gyprock fixer?
They fix your gyps?
Fixing your gyp. Hey, my gyp's messed up. Somebody rock my gyp, will you?
Yeah.
My bag is blue and I need somebody to rock my gyp. Required for work in metropolitan.
Is it spelled JIP?
No, GYP. Gyprock fixer. Gyprock is one word. Required for work in metropolitan area, good wages and conditions. I don't know what that means. Let's see here. There's a glazier. I know what that is. Tradesman required for interesting and varied work. Over award rate wages, continuous overtime available. That sounds wonderful. Need general, a lot of gyprock action here. Apparently the gyprock, they need gyprockers over there. If anybody does that. Wow, groundsman required by Barker College. Must be reliable person experienced in the preparation of turf cricket wickets and playing of fields. Of course, you have to know your cricket wickets to have a job
this
there.
This sounds like a lot of labor work, huh?
Yeah. There was a lot of everything work. A lot like there was like the Australian government mining operations where there was like high paying jobs. Like very high paying.
We got to build this country.
Apparently, they were really trying to put it together back then here. Here's one for a French polisher.
Oh.
Which sounds really dirty. Until you get into it.
Comes with your own knee pads.
Man, French polisher. For lacquer and paint required for work in our large modern furniture factory. So there's a few French polishers you need. Then this just sounds bad. Boy, 16 to 17 required. Boy, 16, 17 required.
Need a boy around here.
For timber mill. The guys need to take turns after their shift. They've decided they need a boy between 16 and 17 years old. We're going to have him right by the time clock. You punch out, you take your shot at him, and you fucking take off.
Head on home.
Wow, that doesn't sound good.
There'll be a bunch of sherry around.
Here's another one. Boy required, this says. Boy required, 16 to 17 years. No. Boy required.
Why do they need so many boys around?
Why do they only 16 to 17 years? Why can't they be 18 or 20?
Because after that, they're not hot anymore.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. That's what makes me think it's definitely sexual. Without that, it's... If you say I need a boy... If you say I need a boy... Yeah. You go, oh, okay, you need somebody to do like labor, run some errands and do labor work. No, 16 to 17, I need him. That's starting to get specific and sexual at that point.
It's an actual boy.
Yeah.
One more year, he's not a boy anymore.
I mean, I want hair, but not a lot of hair, if you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what's happening, Australia?
Hell's going on here. Oh, my God, and you apply at the Enduro concrete products. So, Keep going and going here.
Send your boy down there.
Send your boy to the Enduro concrete plant. Also, the House of London, Australia's best suit specialists here. The $1 million opening sale. And you're going to get suits for $35.
Oh.
How the hell does that work? Unbelievable men's fully imported pure wool English suits, $15.
Jesus.
What the fuck?
That sounds so warm.
Men's flannelette town shirt, $1. What the
flannel
hell?
shirt with a wool suit? Jesus Christ.
Men's Western style denim jeans, $2.99. $2.99. My God.
Western style. Yeah.
Western style. You can get lambskin or lamb's wool, not lambskin, they're not condoms. Lamb's wool pullovers for $3.50 also there. Yeah. So very cheap, honestly, for all this stuff. And then I finally found, I don't know what to make of this article. There was a lot of political stuff in there too. Like, Australia has nationalized health care, if I'm not mistaken now. You just, okay. Well, in the early 70s, they were talking about it because there was ads against it, like if Australia's healthcare becomes nationalized, this is what it's going to look like, and it's like a long line of people like in their underwear with like a prison numbers around their neck looking. There was like, wow,
dying in the street.
It was dystopian as fuck. Right next to him, a kangaroo was boxing a man, so that made it a little cheerier. But then
that's
I
how
saw
they put you down. That's the euthanasia there.
This is a picture of two kangaroos, and it says, "Will America save our kangaroos?" is the headline. I don't know.
Why is it on us?
That's what I'm wondering when I saw that. So I found it says the fate of Australia's national symbol, the kangaroo, rests not on Australia but on the United States. The fuck do we care? Hey, listen, Australia. I get that this was fucking 55 years ago or whatever, 50 years ago, but it's not our problem. We're not asking you to save like the southern muskrat or anything. Like, that's our problem or whatever the hell. I don't know what's endangered over here.
Will you guys come over and stop the Palins from shooting all our wolves?
Yeah,
Can you do that?
We got a wolf thing going on. We don't expect you to get involved. The Sun Herald has a special feature on how this bizarre situation has arisen. Two top American officials are in Australia to consider whether the kangaroo should be put on the U.S. endangered species list.
Why?
I guarantee you there's zero kangaroos murdered here a year because we don't have any to kill. If we had them, people would kill them, but we don't have them.
Do we have like rich dentists going to Australia for like trophy hunts of kangaroos?
I don't know. Their decision means life or death for the kangaroo.
How much are we killing?
I don't know. Is that our problem? We must really be fucking with the kangaroo population.
Gotta be.
And then under this, I don't know what the deal is with these articles that are related to it, but it says Chris Anderson, the Sun Herald's man in Canberra, had his finger right on the pulse of the nation this last week of the federal blah, 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 blah. His assessment will make you help your mind up how to vote. Corruption in American police forces is so bad that spies have had to be appointed to trap guilty policemen. Yeah, they're called They're called internal affairs, like that.
Right.
Where they said that's like crazy over there. I guess I don't know at the time.
They can't believe that we keep an eye on people that have a badge.
The Sun Herald has a feature detailing the corruption and what's being done about it. So they're really into America over here on that particular day. So those were the sales. So
why are you asking us to fix your kangaroo problem? We can't even fix our cop problem.
we can't even keep cops from doing shit according to you over here, and then you're going to ask me to fuck with kangaroos? I don't understand this. Kangaroos? I don't.
We'll send all of our bad cops there to take care of your kangaroo problem.
Well, maybe they could be like kangaroo attendants. We can assign one to a kangaroo. Keep an eye on that one kangaroo, will you?
Yeah.
Just make sure he's doing okay.
Get him to fuck that other one and make more kangaroos.
Imagine that, trying to get kangaroos to fuck. That seems like a hard job.
They seem way too close to humans in terms of how they behave and such.
They look like a guy in a kangaroo costume. That's the problem. All kangaroos
they look like us.
Look like a man in a kangaroo costume. Like, yeah, what's up, dude? My kid wanted me to be a kangaroo for Halloween, so here I am, all right? Got a problem? And then they start punching
and their
you.
babies are called kids. I don't like it.
Yeah,
I don't like it at all. They're too much like us. With a giant tail, and they fight. They box. They fight like us. I don't like it.
They fight. They kick. Yeah, they're dicks. Kangaroos are.
They do everything we do.
And to us, I'm sure in Australia, people are like, you fucking asshole kangaroos, whatever they do.
They eat them, for Christ's sake. There's Roo burgers.
Yeah, whereas here we're like, you'd see a kangaroo and you just go put your arm around it and then the two of you like hop off and go read it. Yeah,
there's movies about people befriending them.
Write a kid story together. Like that's what you do. So in 1974, he has 22 appearances for Newtown with 1 try and 3 points. Looks like they were 9 and 11.
Terrible.
Yeah, 9, 11, and 2 that year is what it looks like they were. So that's not good. 9 wins, 11 losses, 2 draws. In 1974, his brother Rob begins to play on the team.
Okay.
So they had 2 Sullivans and 2 Dawsons.
Is that right?
Isn't that weird? Like
at the same time?
At the same time. Yeah, they're just a very, it's a very close-knit organization.
Family affair, yeah.
Family affair, yeah. His brother Rob played 74, 75, 76. He looks like, God, didn't do very much here. 1 try, it looks like, for 3 points in the whole damn time he was there. They stunk, though. They were 3 and 19 in 1976. So they're stinky. Not doing too well. Now, in 1975, Sullivan represented, I guess, NSW, what the hell is that?
New South Wales.
New South Wales, thank you. And played I'm still fucking foggy here. I'm telling you, this fucking COVID's an asshole. So, and
I believe that's the Rabbitohs, James?
I think so. And played 7 tests for Australia years before the 1975 Jets campaign, where he scored 4 tries. Well, good for you. Anyway, that was, I think, the other Sullivan. That's the brother.
The brother?
So, 75, he has 18 appearances. Gary, not the brother. 4 tries for 12 points. It's one of his better years, it looks like.
Yeah.
But then he doesn't play anymore. That's it for him.
What?
And, he doesn't play anymore. He's only, what is he, like 28 or something? He's not, I don't understand it. Like, I don't get why he's not playing anymore, but he's done. That's where his stats end.
Fascinating.
And from now until the mid-'80s, I don't really know what the fuck he was doing.
Yeah.
He was floating around. I do know he was gambling.
Oh.
He really likes to gamble. He likes to gamble. He likes to hang out with his stepdad, who's also a gambler and a huge alcoholic as well. So they get tired, both of them, of they're like, man, we have to work real jobs. And and when you work, the problem is when you work a real job and you also have an alcohol habit and stuff, you have less money to gamble because you're not making giant salaries and you're spending money on booze and shit too. And generally not probably as good at making money as you might be sober. So,
and you're likely losing more than you're winning.
Yeah. So they get tired. They get tired of working hard and not even being able to gamble extremely large sums of money afterwards. They're tired of that.
Yeah.
Literally. Wait till you get to court later. And they say, how can we make money? Real money without all of this every day getting up in the morning and,
oh, no,
getting a paycheck thing. How can we do this? Well, stepdad, how can we possibly do this here? This isn't like a couple of ne'er-do-well younger guys that he knew. This is his stepfather. So now they were like, let's, I got an idea. Banks seem pretty easy to rob.
Oh, is that right?
So apparently in the 80s and 90s, there was a shitload of bank robberies in Australia. It was constant. Their banks it was like the 1880s. Their 1980s are like our 1880s. It was fucking crazy.
It seems like that was pretty popular in America through that time too, though.
Bank robberies are disturbingly popular always. If you look up the number of bank robberies, you'll be shocked at how many
it
fucking
happens all the time.
It happens constant because and they even said back then they considered them soft targets because they are a soft target. Right now, if you go, Jesus, I'm not telling anybody to rob a bank, obviously, but you go into a bank, there's fucking 5 people, unless it's a giant branch, there's 5 people working in there. 2 of them are old ladies at the counter. There's people over there. They're instructed not to do anything, not to put up a struggle, not to do shit. There's cameras everywhere.
Give the cash.
Give the money. So the actual getting of the money is, it's, as far as crime goes, it's about as easy as it gets.
Yeah.
I mean, you just literally walk in and say, give me this, and they'll give it to you and leave. Right. Then you have to worry about the getting away with it part, which is the harder part.
Now comes the hard part.
Yeah. But someone who isn't thinking that far ahead, you could see them going, and if you and then somebody who's half smart thinks, well, I'll just have a plan. Those are morons that get caught because they're not thinking ahead. I'll think ahead.
I know a guy that robbed 8 banks in Phoenix, and he got away with it because there were just cameras, and he'd just go.
Yeah.
But I mean, eventually, when you keep doing it, it gets on the news. I mean, they're always on the lookout for you.
Yes.
From the second you leave that bank, there's now people that are looking for you for the rest of your life. But he kept going, and then he got himself a nickname, and that's what got him caught.
There you go. See, that's eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually, the numbers catch up with you. It's just.
Yeah. That money runs out, too.
Yeah.
And it goes so much faster than regular-ass money.
The fucked up part is if someone wanted to rob a bank, like that's something chances are you could probably get away with it. Like you could, if you said, I'm going to plan this out well and I'm going to do it once, you'll probably get away with it.
Probably.
But don't do it, obviously, because you also might get killed or arrested or whatever the fuck, or you might hurt somebody. We don't want any of that stuff. But
and watch how you word shit, because you say some things that end up getting you extra charges, and then if you do get caught, you're in jail for much longer.
Then you're really fucked. So that was a very popular thing in Queensland, apparently, was in the 80s and 90s. Lots of that. Now, there's a cop here, Detective Sergeant Ross Barnett. And we kind of have to tell you his story to get to Gary's story here, because it's very interesting how he came about this shit here. He was working at a bank before he was a cop. When he was 18, he's working at a bank. He always wanted to be a cop, but he was just starting out. Worked at a bank, and I guess his father, his brother, his uncle, everybody's cop, so it runs in his family. So his job at the bank would he would accompany a teller from the branch to the to like a sub branch where they drop money off at, I guess. So they would carry bags of cash down the street. So, which is interesting. They had a gun inside the bag for security, but it's a gun. They just carry it in the money bag, which doesn't seem smart, because if someone comes up to rob you, you can't be like, hold on a minute, let me go in this bag and get my gun out.
This is horrible.
This no wonder why there's so many goddamn bank robberies. At the end of the night, they just send walk this down the street, just 2 guys with bags of cash walking down the street. Wonder why that would happen. So he said, too, neither of them knew how to use the gun. It was in the bag. So they had this gun, but they weren't trained to use these guns or didn't know what they were doing. So apparently they would take the same route every day, too, which is great job. Nice, smart move here.
Really show them how you do this.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happened to fucking Avon Barksdale. You know what I mean? Right. You can't have the same routine.
Do the same thing over and over again. Everybody knows what you do.
And Weebay will catch a stray like that. You know what I'm saying?
He'll catch you.
That's what happens. Not a stray, but he'll say it's a stray. So anyway, they're doing that. Now they walk past, there's a block of toilets there, apparently, like a bunch of public toilets that they walk past every day. I'm imagining
public, like in a house of some sort.
No, I'm thinking like public toilets lined up, like
just on the street.
Yeah, on the sidewalk, public shitters. Cities have those.
It's a whole urinal row.
Yeah, it's urine. That's what they call it. They call it urine row. So on urine row there, they're walking by one morning, and 2 guys in masks pop out and accost them. The Barnett, this guy, future cop, and his colleague here, they're bound and gagged. Their money's taken. They're put like duct tape and shit was on them, and they're taken at knife point. And he says he remembers a knife being on his skin and how terrifying it was, and and it was $4,000 they're taking.
Oh God!
Which isn't even. It doesn't seem. Why the hell are you sending 2 guys down the street with $4,000? You don't have a fucking armored car where you can get this shit. What is happening? So a year later, he ends up on the police force. After that, so he ends up on the armed holdup squad eventually, which is where he wanted to be.
He's got experience, yeah.
He's got it. Yeah, he does. So he said he'd wanted to work with them, and he wanted to, he said that was a scary thing, and he wanted to rid the streets of this shit was his whole deal. So he said he had a lot of empathy toward the victims because he was one himself. Yep. So anyway, there's a guy here named Harold McSweeney. Yeah. And this is an interesting story. So I'll tell you this story to get into the other story. So McSweeney, career criminal. Yeah. So one of these, Australia's got a lot of these kind of arch criminals too, which is kind of, there's a bunch. I found an Australian boxer that is like all tied up in organized crime.
Career shitbag.
Yeah, got to get into him at some point. But this guy, he's an armed robber. He'd robbed banks. He'd robbed armored cars. This McSweeney guy is apparently a bad motherfucker. So in March of 1991, there's a report saying that there were some inmates at a jail that had been paying too close attention to some vehicles that were entering the grounds and leaving the grounds, like garbage trucks, the bread truck, laundry trucks, all the, shit has to come in and out of prisons.
Yeah.
So they heard that. They had talked about it internally, the prison people, but then the day after it was brought to their attention, inmates took control of a garbage truck and used it to ram open the front gates and drive away. Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
That's using your head there. Don't get the Honda Civic. Grab a garbage truck.
Heavy shit. Yeah.
Plow right out. So they apparently do that. A couple of the prisoners, I guess they, tried to scatter after that, running out of an open gate. They were caught pretty quickly. One of them managed to get away for a little while, a few weeks or so. But this McSweeney guy, he ended up being on the run for months. He ends up being on the run. This guy's a master criminal here. He's on the run, and while he's on the run, he had been suspected of committing more armed robberies, this time with actual shots fired, too.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's hardcore. Like I said, this is a time when it was just very normal for banks to be robbed, and in violent fashions as well. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, bank robbers now, they don't even fucking have weapons.
No.
You don't need one.
You don't have to.
You don't have to have one. You just have to say what you want. But
also, that adds another charge.
That's exactly. And what if the gun goes off? Then you're really fucked, And so a lot of them, they don't even bother to bring weapons now because you don't have to have a weapon. So, but he would. This is a different thing. This is coming in with guns, old school on the fucking floor. Everybody, old school fucking strong arm shit. So on May 24th, he is heavily armed. And he robs an armored vehicle, which is at the car park of the Brookside Shopping Center in Mitchelton, I think it is. He ends up getting away with $240,000 in cash out of this.
That's a haul.
That's a good fucking haul, man. Jesus Christ.
That should stop you from robbing banks for quite some time.
Yeah. Lay low now. Calm the fuck down. And he also shot the truck up and everything. He had an assault rifle and shot the truck up, and so they wouldn't follow him. And Barnett, this cop, says, quote, he had absolutely no reservations about firing weapons into public places. Whatever it took to get the job done, that was the sort of person he was. Jesus. So this McSweeney guy, bad guy.
Yeah.
So a couple days later, the police receive information that McSweeney was in Toowoomba, Toowoomba, Toowoomba. Toowoomba, I don't fucking know. There's a lot of O's in there. That sounds like a Disney movie. Yeah. Toowoomba, coming this fall, doesn't it? Really does.
Yeah.
He apparently was heavily armed because it was an informant told on him, right, and said, hey, watch out, though. He's definitely armed. He's got shoulder holsters with 2 guns on him. He's got shotguns. He's got fucking, assault rifles. He's got it all, basically. He's loaded up. And the guy even said, if you try to stop him, he's going to shoot at you. So
and this is the guy that escaped from prison.
This is the guy, yes, he escaped from prison in a garbage truck bashing out the front gates. Rather than laying low.
Heavily armed.
He's heavily armed, robbing banks again. Not giving a fuck. So they warned about that. So Barnett and a bunch of other guys are sent to Toowoomba, whatever, to try to find him. And they track him down. And apparently this is like they didn't have back then like these kind of like now you'd send like the SWAT team. There's like response teams that would come to say there's a heavily armed guy who already escaped from prison and all this shit. They would send, people.
Shitloads of FBI people.
There'd be like tanks and guys, with all this sort of shit. They really didn't have that specific unit back then around there, apparently. So instead, they just spotted him and started chasing him. And they're going, from what I understand, they're going, he says on here, around roundabouts 160 kilometers an hour, which is fast.
That's like 30 miles an hour.
I think that's like a good 28. It's at least, that's fast. I think that's like.
It's like 70. Is it?
Yeah.
What, 180 kilometers?
160.
Yeah, that's like 75, 80 miles an hour.
I mean, around roundabouts, that seems excessive.
That's moving. Yeah.
They said he wasn't touching the brakes, no shit like that.
Wow.
Apparently, too, they're giving chase to him. The surveillance team lost them giving this crazy chase. Not everybody could keep up. So they were, fucking chasing him. This isn't like, suburban neighborhoods. They're in
Yikes.
they're driving like maniacs through fucking where there's kids playing in the streets. And so Barnett, our cop here, was in the passenger seat when Detective Peter Gray gets close to McSweeney in their cars and rams him off the road.
Hell yeah.
Hits him, hits the car. The side door jammed up and he couldn't get out, basically. So McSweeney, once he comes to a stop, they get out. They're going to try to go apprehend him. He just opens fire from where he is. So Barnett, the cop we're talking about, takes a bullet in the hip from this.
Ouch.
Bullet in the hip. I guess he ends up, it's tons of gunfire coming at him. He dives into the car. They're trying to, call for backup and all this type of shit. Barnett says that was a very close thing. Well, no shit. Yeah. I would say he said that it's very close to, a lot of shit in your hip.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this white Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
That's not good. He said at the time, though, he didn't even think about it because he was just trying to do his job and do some shit. And he had like a competition thing with this guy. I'm going to catch this asshole. Yeah. He can't shoot me in the hip. So anyway, he said that, they're trying to return fire and all this type of shit. The guy gets away. This McSweeney guy ends up getting away. He put out enough of his own cover with gunfire that they couldn't do anything. They had to hunker down. So
he jumped out of the car and ran?
He jumped out of the car, took the fuck off. So he takes off. He's gone. 2 hours later, though, 2 hours later, he surrenders, which seems highly odd. Yeah. But he doesn't, this is fucked up, he doesn't surrender to, like, the police. He doesn't go walk into a police station. He surrenders to a television crew. Because I guess he wanted to have some sort of statement and wanted to, like, show that he was safe or what. I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck his deal was. But they ended up, had a helicopter land to do this whole thing. It was crazy. Then, a year later, he ends up dead.
McSweeney?
Now, you'd imagine a guy like this, it would probably be an anticlimactic end. He'd have like a heart attack in his sleep or something.
Yeah.
But no, he escapes from court during a hearing and is shot dead trying to hijack a bus.
Wow.
That's the way you go out. This guy had
glory.
A fucking Old West Billy the Kid kind of lifestyle. Jesus Christ. You can't hold him anywhere. That's
so
crazy.
Why is this man so significant to our show today?
Okay, that's the point. Our guy, Barnett, at this point, is shot in the hip. So he can't work, can't come to the office. He can't do a lot of stuff. He can't go out in the field for a while. So he's super pissed off. But he's like, I want to keep in the squad. What can I do to keep my toe in the water here? So they said, work some cold cases. Here you go. Work some cold cases since you're shot. So he's recovering from his gunshot, and he's given a cold case of a series of 14 armed robberies for banks and armored cars.
That's a lot.
All connected, they think, done by the same two people.
Okay.
So this is from between 85 and 91. So it's like 91 now. So this is right up till current from 85. This is like they haven't been able to figure it out. They've slowed down a little bit and then they pick back up and all that sort of shit. So they just knew there was two people involved, same two people, and they said that they were becoming increasingly violent, and they have stolen, I'll have an exact number in a little bit here, but they have stolen over $3.2 million in cash already from banks.
Holy shit.
They're really good at this. Like,
why keep going? You've done it.
At the time, these two bank robbers had like 6 of the top 10 highest netting fucking bank robberies in the history of Queensland or whatever.
Wow.
So they were doing very, very fucking well. They're like top career earners for bank robbers in the whole area. They really were. Like they have the stats, and they said they made the most out of it. So I guess good for them. So the two people they're looking for, but they don't know yet, are a guy named, well, first of all, Garry Sullivan, our guy, has he got bored with having a regular job.
Wow.
And his stepfather, Bill Orchard, as well.
He is robbing banks with his stepdad.
They're bonding, Jimmy. This is a nice thing.
That's adorable.
You've had stepdads. Did anyone of them ever do anything like that with you?
No, they flicked me in the forehead and called me gay slurs.
You want to play catch or rob banks or do something? Like none of that, right?
I'd rather.
This is at least they're getting along. You know, the mother's like, well, I mean, at least they're getting along. That's good. It's nice to see them do something together.
Yeah.
So, Bill and Garry here are doing this shit all over the place. They carry out, it's 6 of the largest armed robberies in Queensland history they carry out here, netting over 14 armed robberies, over $3 million. This is all because they liked to gamble and didn't like to work.
They needed $3 million to gamble.
And that wasn't enough either. One's big, obviously. One is smaller. Gary's going to be the bigger guy, as as the newspaper described him, the broad-shouldered. Fucking one of them, broad-shouldered, sexy, like a Magnum PI level Tom Selleck, kind of a man's man, you know. The other one, not so much, but very attractive. This guy. So,
in my scrum.
They said the only thing that they could find together to link them is that they're the same two guys. Everything else they do is different. They switch it up all the time. You just know bigger guy, smaller guy, different disguises, different vehicles all the time, never like the same car or anything like that. Sometimes they wear like rubber Halloween masks, like Point Break style, but pre-Point Break, because they were doing it in the 80s, except they wore, like, I guess they had ones that had, like, they were old man rubber masks with, like, wild hair. Like like Christopher Lloyd hair with like an old man face. Maybe it was just a Christopher Lloyd Back to the Future mask and no one...
It's very funny.
I'm not sure. But they wore that as they came into banks with that and robbed them and shit like that. So they did a lot. In May of 1985, they stole a car from a train station and drove it to some fucking bank here. Now, they had overalls, stocking masks, and balaclava. What the fuck did
Balaclavas?
Yeah, what did we figure that was?
A balaclava is one of those things that goes up over your face and over your head.
There you go.
It's with just like the eye thing.
Like a ninja. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a ninja.
So it's a ski mask without eye holes. It's an eye like the guy from Star Trek would wear to fit the one-piece glasses.
Gotcha. Yeah, he's got the nice one piece going.
Yeah. That's a balaclava. So covers your whole head. And stocking mask?
They had stocking mask.
The balaclava is the stocking mask, probably.
No, this is both. And there's an and in here. So maybe they put the stocking mask under so you couldn't see their eyes well because they'd be...
Wow.
I'm not sure, but they had overalls as well, so they wore their murder pants.
Yeah.
Look at you.
It's a pretty good costume.
And then floppy hats on over that. Sounds terrifying.
They could not stand out more.
No, it sounds like members of Primus are robbing you, first of all. You're like, what is happening here?
Yeah, I got the drummer of Slipknot over there on the Tech 9.
What the fuck are we doing? And one of them had a shotgun as well.
Okay.
So that's the most important part of it, probably, is that part. Yeah. They came in the front doors, shouted, "Get down on the floor." Everybody got down on the floor.
Threw a balaclava and a stocking.
Yeah. They're like, what? What's that?
Sounds like he took a bite of a sandwich.
You got like 3 layers over your face. I can't. Right. You're muffled. I'm just saying, you're muffled. We can't. You'd probably get what you want faster if you unmuffled yourself a bit.
Should have cut a hole in that.
1 or 2 layers, and we could hear you better. But 3, it's too much. It sounds like you're under a pillow, bro. So they end up netting $27,000 from this first bank robbery. So they were like, that was pretty easy.
Yeah.
It was way easier than working for $27,000.
They gave us $27,000 and could barely hear us.
Yeah, it's perfect. So a month later, they do it again. This is at the Westpac Bank at Palm Beach. And they wore the same outfit minus the overalls. And they had a sawed-off shotgun this time. They sawed it off, make it look a little more intimidating this time.
It's scarier, yeah.
This time, one of them jumped up on the counter. I'm going to go with probably Paul. He's probably the more athletic one of the two. He jumped up on the counter while the other one held the shotgun. So one guy got up and made the announcement, "This is what we're doing. You get your shit." And the other guy, was the muscle. So now they're getting a little routine going. Well, last time we went in there, I talked, but then you talked too. And I felt like they didn't know where to look is what I'm saying. So this time, I'll talk and you hold the shotgun on them. That's very threatening. And then I'll tell them what they want, but they can look at me the whole time. They'll know you're there with the shotgun. They don't need to look.
If I get up really high, all the eyes will be on me. So they'll just be wondering what's he got to say. So they'll be focused on whatever muffled shit I say.
Yeah, because otherwise you're going to be muffled. I'm going to be muffled. They'll be going back and forth and it's just going to look bad. So they do that. They end up ransacking the safe, the teller's cages, everything. Wow. They got everything in this one. Police would later find their getaway car completely burned out in Logan Home. So this is why they're doing this smart. They're like stealing cars, using stolen cars, and then burning them. So they're not having any evidence. Yeah. They're doing it smart.
To do with me in that car. Yeah.
Not like, we'll take my car, and I don't think anyone will see the plates. So
like Ben Affleck in The Town. This is great.
This is smart.
Very meticulous.
It's smart. Well, if you read, there's what's his name? Sal Polisi's a mob guy. He wrote a book. It's an interesting book. A lot of good stuff in there. And he was a big bank robber. And that was kind of his thing. And he tells a lot of very detailed accounts of bank robberies like this. And it's very interesting. These bank robbery crews would really have it down. Like they knew this is how much time we're going to be in there. This is what we're doing. It's, no shit. His whole thing was to be polite to the tellers. He's like, it's not their fault. Be nice to the tellers. Treat them like gentlemen. He goes, always treat the tellers like gentlemen. He goes, it throws off the whole thing too with the description. They're not. They don't know how to react to it. It's interesting. So, but you don't have to be a scumbag about it. So here, they end up they find that they stole it. Apparently, this car that they found burned out, they stole it a year ago. Oh. They held this car for a year. They stole it from a car dealership, by the way.
Even better.
And
reliable.
Yeah, it's going to work.
Yeah.
So they had stolen it a year earlier. So they're like, wow, a year stolen car gone. We figured that was out. So that robbery, they got $91,000 out of that.
Okay.
So they're like, wow, $91,000. That's a shitload of money, especially in 1985. That's a fuckload of money. So they're like, wow, let's do this. We need to get this going again, right?
Yeah.
5 days later, they
oh my God,
do it again. A car that was stolen months earlier, they use this time. They've been stealing cars for future use and like storing them. Right. That's how they've been doing it. They had the stocking mask, the ski mask, the gloves, the overalls. They had an outfit for the 80s.
I like that
they changed with the times, which is nice. They changed their outfits. They're like, the overalls are very 85. This is a new year. I'm a material girl. It's a material world, and I'm going to step up my game. New me. Let's go in fur coats. What do you say? Yeah. So they do that. This time they have a shotgun and a revolver. So now the other guy's armed too. First it was just one, but now they're ready to reinvest in the business now. That's the thing. Got a little
coin in the pocket. Put some back into the business.
Yeah, it's a write-off, Jimmy. What are you going to do? It's all a write-off. Put money into your company here.
We need tools.
We need tools. So they go into the front door. One of them jumped onto the counter. The other one went into the manager's office. Now they figured out there's somebody in the back probably.
Yeah.
So they go in there. They say, get out of here and get down on the floor. They know to pull the manager out now. Yeah. Then they say, come on, open the safe. Let's go. And, they have a pistol at the manager's back because he knows how to open the safe. And they're trying to get the safe open. I guess if they tell a female teller, empty the fucking drawers and all the cages for the tellers. Let's go. Get this. Yelling, hurry up, hurry up. One of the woman said that they were jabbing a gun into her buttocks. So I don't know if it's like in the hole or just in her cheek or what. Either way, it's not very nice. I don't think it feels sexual.
That's awfully threatening. It's
very threatening. You know what I mean? And especially if it was like toward the hole. That's very threatening and too much.
You can't just like put it in my kidney. Like we're gonna be back there. What are we doing?
Hey, have some fucking decorum and put that gun in my kidney. Jesus Christ Almighty! Like you never held a fucking gun in somebody before.
Up about 9 inches. Come on.
So they get $24,000 in a duffel bag out of that. I don't know if it's like a free tote bag for opening an account or one of those
bank one.
Yeah, some bank tote bag.
Swag.
I think it was. So then in September of that year, they hit the National Australia Bank at Slacks Creek using a car they stole 3 months before that. Wow, they've had these cars for months. They just steal a car. That's good for later. I'm going to use that. So this is a big plan. This is no bullshit. This one they leave with their biggest haul so far, $213,000 they get out of this bank robbery.
It's unbelievable.
In cash, ready to go. So this one, they go from September until July with no robberies that they can link to these two. In that time period. So when you have $213,000, and this all happened pretty quick, that they're going to take a break now. Now we don't have to rob a bank for a few days. We got $215,000 here. So they don't do shit until July the next year. Okay, like I said, 86. So this time it's 5 p.m. on a Monday, and they are, I guess, right at closing. The staff goes to the back of the building, counts money for the next morning armored van collection. At the end of the day, you have it all, and I guess you get like the next day's deposit for the armored car, whatever. So that's how you do it. So as they're doing that, this is ballsy right here. This isn't bursting through the front door. This isn't someone going and taking the trash out and you put a gun in their ass. This is a different story. They, using a stolen station wagon, crashed through the rear doors of the bank. They just drove their car through the doors. Fuck it.
Unreal. Yeah.
We're going anyway. Might as well go in blazing.
Yeah.
Number one, that's going to work. You're going to get in. And number two, talk about a distraction. Holy shit.
Boy. Yeah.
Wow. Everyone's diving on the floor if a fucking station wagon comes through.
But also, that brings so much attention.
It does. It really does. But that's why you'd have to be very quick about it.
Yeah.
But I think it also probably, I would think it's going to make the bank employees confused for a moment because they were probably going to think, oh my God, a car crashed into our bank first. Right. They're probably not going to think that's a bank robber at first. So just that moment of confusion might get the robbers to drop on them. I don't know what the plan is. Or if it was just hard to get in because the doors were locked and they're like, well, we don't have
the money we needed in there.
No wonder why Ocean's 11 had a lock guy. That's why you need to have gotta have a safe lock guy. We don't have that. We just have the two of us.
Right. These guys got to be doing the job of 6 other men each.
Yeah, there's no alarms guy. There's no any of this shit. We have nothing.
The digging crew.
Nobody. Not a guy. Nobody with like a big welding thing to go through a safe. We got nothing.
A guy to put like a fake nose on to go distract and fuck some horny chick.
Fuck some horny rich lady while we break in. It's always what it is.
Yeah, that's what it was in that movie.
It's always a horny rich lady. It can't be just like some
who doesn't know she's hot.
No.
Has no idea she can fuck anybody.
Her husband ignores her.
Right.
He's an investment banker, and he totally ignores her. He's a very busy man. She knew she was pretty back when she won Miss Indiana in 73, but since then, she started to think of herself as not so pretty anymore. He's taken the shine off of her, and you're going to have to help her get her groove back.
But Matt Damon makes himself ugly, and he can fuck her.
He can fuck her, yeah, because he put a fucking Carl Malden nose on, so now it's okay.
And some wart next to it.
So they bust through the back door with their car, which is fucking insane. And they do that. It took, by the way, this is fucking hilarious. So it wasn't a surprise because it took 3 attempts before the doors finally gave. They had to bash in, back up, bash in, back up, bash in. So
these people are like, what was that noise? What was that?
So finally it busts open. They pop out masked and armed with a shotgun.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that's a surprise. They said that later on, they'll say, by the way, that the rear entry hadn't been their plan at all. They were going to get, their plan was to get there right before closing when they were cleaning it out. You know, right as they're about to lock the door, they were going to bum rush the place and get in, but they were late. Your job is a bank robber. Like, be fucking on time. No wonder why you lazy motherfuckers. You can't even get to your bank robbery on time.
You've cased the place. You know what time closing time is.
Did you get there after? And you didn't just go, well, I guess tomorrow? Yeah. They were like, nah, fuck it. Let's ram the car through the back doors. That's just as good. But it ends up being very good, as a matter of fact. Either way, the plan works, and they walk away with $233,000 in cash money in 1986.
They've taken $500,000 in 4 robberies.
Yeah, more than that. So over $600,000 they've gotten so far. In April 1987, this is when they first go after an armored van. So they're like, well, the money's in the bank, and then they give the money to an armored van. Why don't we just rob the thing that all the banks give their money to? Smart. Seems like there'd be more money in there. Yeah. There'd be money from all sorts of banks. We can rob like 5 banks at once if we just rob the armored car. Genius. Fucking stupid. So they do. It's April 1987. They drive a Toyota Hi-Ace van. What the fuck is a Toyota Hi-Ace van?
Hi-Ace? So that's the thing about Australia. They have different names for the models, but it's the same car.
I'm looking up a Toyota Hi-Ace van.
It's probably, what year is it? In the 80s? It might be one of those fucking like
weird looking
minivans.
Yeah, I was thinking, but like those like
like hold a Sprinter, like the Mercedes Sprinter.
I'm looking it up. Toyota Hi. I need to know because this is what are they doing? What are they driving?
Hi-Ace.
Hi-Ace. H-I-A-C-E. It's like a Sprinter van, basically. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what they're driving. Okay. So a Hi-Ace van.
Is that a Hiace?
Maybe it's a Hayachi, but it's a H-I and then capital A-C-E. So it looks like High Ace.
Oh, yeah, it's High Ace. Yeah, it sure is. It's like a fucking Volkswagen Vanagon. That's what it is.
Yeah,
in the 80s.
One of those type. Yeah, it's like a Sprinter fucking crew van. So this van that they have, this High Ace truck, they bought this car. They didn't steal this one.
Yeah.
They bought it from a car yard under a fake name at one point. So 11:40 a.m., the armored vehicle pulls into the back of an ANZ bank at Coolangatta. I guess that's the town. 2 guards got out. One went to the counter to collect the money. The other guy stood guard kind of by the front door. That's what he does. So right after that happens, dude gets the money. 2 masked men armed with a shotgun and a revolver, sounds familiar, burst in through the bank's back doors. They got to be more secure with these back doors.
Yeah.
The man with the shotgun comes up behind the guard, who's kind of by the door, pointing the weapon at him, telling him to get on the floor. The guard at the counter went to turn around, but the man with the revolver pressed it into his back.
Yeah.
So he gets on the floor too. These 2 guys grab the cash that the armored van guys just went to go put in their van, and they got a shitload of money out of that. $316,000.
Whoa.
$316,000. Plus they stole the 2 guns that the guards have been carrying as well.
Smart.
So yeah, that seems smart. Then in August, they hit another van at the Commonwealth Bank at Sunnybank, and this time one of our gunmen here kicked a guard in the thigh and knocked him down and pointed the revolver at him that way. I guess
what
he
the fuck, you jerk.
Wasn't cooperating fast enough.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, but they steal the guns the guards are carrying. This time they steal $420,000.
They are getting so much money.
The 2 armored car ones they got, Jesus, $736,000 out of 2.
Holy shit.
2 days, about 20 minutes of work they got. That's a shitload of that.
Unreal.
So they have a fuckload of money, but this is fucking crazy. I mean, you're going to get recognized eventually. They're known. Yeah. There's the big one and the small one. Like, people know who they are. Those are, whenever it pops up, they're like, was it a big one, small one, revolver, shotgun?
Right.
They know who the hell they are. So they're getting to be like kind of famous, and you got to keep a low key. Like you were saying, you don't want to earn a nickname or any shit like that.
That's bad.
Once you earn a nickname, it's all hands on deck to find you.
When there's
the public
nickname,
knows about you.
Federal government's looking for you, and that's bad. That's bad news.
It's like spitting in the face of the people who are trying. Yeah. Like, you're so prolific, you have a nickname, and they still can't find you, and it makes it seem like more familiar. Like, oh, we all know that person, and you can't even find them.
Right.
You know, it's fucked up. It's weird, and it makes someone scarier when they have a nickname.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't know why.
His was pretty. The guy I knew, his nickname was the Barefoot Bandit, James.
Oh, that just sounds like he's a hillbilly.
Because he wore scrubs to these robberies, like nurses' scrubs, but he didn't wear shoes. I swear to God, his quote was, "They clashed with the clothes."
Oh my God.
He said they looked bad and they stood out and were very obvious. I was like, you didn't wear shoes, motherfucker. That's even more obvious.
Yeah, that's more because people go, what's 2 things you need to be wearing in a fucking bank? Shoes and a shirt. Both of those are vital. If you walk in with no shoes, people are like, when's he getting kicked out?
And he had tattoos on his face. It's like, dude, you are so obvious. Who gives a fuck what the shoes look like?
When you get a tattoo on your face, you're taking yourself out of the armed robbery game right there. Yeah. You're saying, I'm making myself extremely identifiable, so I'm going to go ahead and not do that forever.
He had triangles tattooed, one below his eye pointing down and one above it pointing up, like a fucking clown. He had like clown makeup tattooed on his face.
God, this guy sounds terrible, Jimmie. Why were you friends with this person? A tattoo-faced, shoeless, bank-robbing asshole? What's going on here?
He's a terrible human being.
It sounds like it. Do you know him from like school or something?
No, I just knew after high school I ran around with bad people, and he was one of them.
He just sounds like a scumbag. I'm not even talking about bad. He's got no fucking shoes on and clown tattoos. I don't care what his crimes are.
James, he got arrested, obviously, and was put in jail. He got more tattoos on his face. He got out of prison and decided he was going to be a good person, so he got all the tattoos removed. removed. He got put back in prison because he's a meth head, and he got caught with meth and all kinds of bad shit.
More tattoos.
Now he got the tattoos put back on.
Perfect. He said, you know what? I was right the first time. I was right the first time. I tried to clean it up, but no, this is what I like.
He got the tattoos removed and then went back in, got the tattoos put on, and then more. His whole face is fucked up now.
Jesus Christ. What a
I swear,
disaster.
he better not ever get out. He's such a bad person.
I guess so. Good Christ. He's a menace, man.
Yeah. Do you remember when Skin Industries clothing got popular and there was those and it had like a naked girl on the back? He had skin tattooed on his neck. So I was like, that clothing line just came out. You like it that much? And he goes, no, man, there's an S on it. I was like, oh, you're a bad person. I get it.
You're just terrible.
He's just he's a skinhead. He's a horrible person.
Oh, my God.
And he hurts people for fun.
Well, is he in prison now?
Oh, yeah, for a very, very, very long time.
I'm going to say, let's hope so.
Yeah.
So, but these guys, they're sitting pretty with all these stolen cars and fucking money and all this shit. They're doing great. Yeah. None of this bullshit. Nobody's got a tattoo on their face trying to get caught. Everyone's got shoes on. It's a professional operation. Yeah, it's a professional operation. But Garry, he has to wonder. He has to ponder.
Yeah.
What am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Same ponder I had when I was hanging out with that guy.
That's the thing. He sat there and he sits in a park one day and he's like, man, the trees are beautiful. He's like Bubbles in The Wire when he's seeing things clear, and he's sober. Yeah. He's like, man, I'm seeing this clear right now, and I'm seeing I need to get my shoes on and really keep my shit together.
Yeah.
And he's like, I just don't know. I just don't know what to do. If only there was some advice that I could get that could just help me, please. He started praying to no deity in particular.
No.
He said, please, God, help me. Give me some guidance. And he doesn't hear God's voice or anything like that, but he does hear some dogs barking in the distance.
Hell yeah.
And there is someone to give him advice, and it's Bobby Colorado. And he says, how is it you come to arrive here? What the fuck is wrong with you? Gee, listen, I've known a lot of I know a guy with clown makeup who wore no fucking shoes while he robbed the bank. You know what I'm talking about? I know jerk-offs. Yeah. I know jerk-offs from fucking Jerk-Off 1. You, my friend, are a fucking jerk-off. I'm tired of this shit. You're playing your game. You're playing for the fucking, what is the blue sacks or whatever the hell you are? I don't know. Some shit.
Blue bags.
The blue bags. You're doing real fucking good and you're kicking shit around. I don't know what the fuck rugby. Do you kick the ball? Do you carry it? You fucking throw it to each other? I don't know anything about it.
Really scrumming it up.
You just rub each other's scrums all over each other till you get blue bags. And then you're over here robbing banks like a fucking... What are you doing, robbing banks? Scaring the shit out of these poor people, kicking people in the thighs, taking their fucking guns. You know what it is? I think it is. You need that companionship from being on a team. So you're like, I need to be on a team, and you got your stepfather. Get yourself a couple of dogs. Let me tell you something. They're never going... Yeah. They're never going to ask you to rob a bank with them. Number one. That's first of all. Number one. They don't wear shoes. That's a problem, but still. You don't wear shoes either, so whatever. So anyway, I'm telling you, get yourself a couple of dogs because this lifestyle, it ain't for you. Let me tell you something right now. I got to get the fuck going, though, because these dogs are getting hungry. So I'll see you later. Bye. And then poof, and marinara sauce and dog shit, a big cloud. And Garry is very confused. Yeah. He's like, no one around here talks like that, number one. This is Australia. That was very confusing. Where the hell is he from? It was almost arugula, so that would have been even funnier. I understand. He would have been like, what is happening right now? So, January of 1990 is the Commonwealth Bank at Mount Gravatt. Okay. There, they use black spray paint on the security cameras.
Oh, stepping it up a notch.
Yeah, this is like, fuck, man. You see this shit in movies, but you never actually hear of it happening. They came in, blacked out the security cameras, so I guess less people would know they were the same people. And then they raid the strong room, threatening the staff with handguns, all this type of shit, but it's only $160,000.
Oh, boy.
Which is still a really good payday, but $160,000. But when you only have $160,000, you got to get back out at the game, man. So 2 months later, They're doing it again. 2 months later. They accosted some guards walking back to their van after picking up cash from the Westpac at Springwood, stole their guns, and $139,000. So much money. April of 1990. Okay, now, they use a car they bought from a car yard a month earlier. They gave the salesman a fake name again. They got out with old man masks, like we said earlier, handgun and a shotgun, and they wait at the back of the Sunnybank Hills shopping center for the armored van to pull in. Okay, because they're back to our armored vans. This bank shit's for the birds.
Yeah.
So the guards get out to open up the back, and they jump out with their guns. Sullivan and his stepdad here. So they tell the guards, get down on the ground, make them hand over their guns. They use a ladder, apparently they had here stashed. They use a ladder to climb on top of the roof of this and used a tomahawk to
cut the opening?
I guess. Oh no, this is to cut off the fucking antenna.
Antennas? Okay.
Yeah, I guess there's one live one and one dummy antenna in case people don't know which one to go after, and so they cut them off so they can't call for help right away. Okay. So that's why they do that. So they use that with a tomahawk. So they're perfecting this with everyone.
Yeah. They're very aware of some fail safes for stopping these too.
Yeah, well, they take it up a notch right here. That's enough to just cut off the communications, but they do it a little bit different. While still on the vehicle, and this is obviously Garry, we're going to say, is up on top of the vehicle. While still on the vehicle, he takes a container of fucking gasoline and pours it over the roof of the vehicle, spilling down the front windshield and all that onto the ground. He climbed down from there. Now he's covered the car in gasoline.
Right.
Takes a length of chain now. Okay? A length of chain and a padlock, and wraps the chain around one of the guards' necks.
What the fuck?
This is crazy. So this guy's laying on the ground with a chain around his neck, fuel all over the fucking place. Like it's all dripped down on the ground, all by him, around him, and everything else. Garry has his foot on the back of this guy's head, fucking with a chain around his neck. So then he says, one of the guys says to the other guard, tell him if he doesn't get the bags out, I'll torch the truck. I know what you got in there. You better get it all out. And he says, if you don't, we'll light a match. Okay. So at that point, he shows them a lighter. He shows them a Zippo. Okay. So they do. They fucking, they go. They get all the money out of that. Now they load it all in their car using a guard as a shield. They load the cash into their vehicle before pushing him away and speeding off. Now, other guards from the bank came out and started opening fire on them at that point. So that's why they had to make an escape, like with their gun to the guy's fucking head, backing up, driving away, pushing him away as they drove off with bullets hitting their fucking rear windshield and shit.
Real heat moment.
Yeah, this is like crazy. Mm-hmm. This is fucking some of the most action we've ever had in crime and sports. Like this is like the Patrick Cote prison escape, the one Ben Kramer with the helicopter trying to get out. Like there's a few.
This is danger.
This is fucking crazy, man. A lot of people. There's a lot of possibility for death here, but they get away and they get $694,000.
Wow.
$694,000 in one swoop.
$700,000 in one sitting.
One sitting. Now he's still seeing like some of his former teammates and stuff around town. One teammate, Neil Pringle of the potato chip fame. No, he's not. He looks he's the guy on the cover with the mustache.
He got that thing tattooed on his face.
Yeah, that's what it is. And Greg Bandera said that Sullivan around this time, around the greyhound trotting and racetracks on the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
He's well known at the racetracks around this time.
The Gold Coast?
He's known as, quote, Mr. Cash.
Oh.
That's what everybody calls him, Mr. Cash. He's always got a big
flush.
Big wad of cash ready to bet. He gambles as much as $100,000 at a time.
That's dangerous.
That's why they need to rob so many fucking banks, because you're gambling $100,000 at a time. That's insane. One of his friends here, Pringle. This is the Pringle guy here. He said Garry was the most unassuming bloke you'd ever meet, but he had his gambling habit. Even when we were playing together, he'd sneak off to the trots. I guess that doesn't mean he has to shit for Americans. That means he went to the racetrack.
Go to the trots? That's disgusting.
Americans are like, well, yeah, he's got to shit. Where else is he going to go? Not in his pants. So then I guess after he moved to the Gold Coast, they said it was nothing for him to, like on one race, he'd plop down 10, 20 grand at a time. It's a sure thing. It's a lock. I got this. Okay. He said he always had a shitload of money. He was gambling with bookies. He said he never was on credit. It's all cash basis. That's why he's Mr. Cash. Never needed like, I'll pay you back next week. It was like, boom, there you go. Here's my fucking losses. He's got to be winning some too, huh? Sometimes, yeah. I mean, sometimes, but he's a fucking degenerate gambler. Yeah. Degenerate gamblers, it doesn't matter if they're winning. If they're winning sometimes, they don't go, I want a fuckload of money. Cool, I'm going to go on a vacation with my wife and do all this. They go, oh, sweet, now I'm even farther. I can gamble more because I'm up.
Now I can bet on that other dog or whatever the fuck's playing.
That's what it is with gambling. It's especially these fucking degenerate fucking gamblers. They can't help it. It's not fun for them. They just have to do it. It's the two fucking drops of water running down.
Right.
You know, you take sports away, we bet on that. We'll
bet on anything.
It's needing to gamble, not what we're gambling on, because that's a funny fucking thing. So he said that he would do that. He said that he always found him to be a good family man. This guy said after, always in the past, he was a non-drinker, good family man, upstanding guy. This guy, they grew up together, him and these two here, and he said, I don't understand it. So another guy here, this is a funny way to put it. This article says, a similar tale was told by fellow blue bag, Greg Bandiera. No one took much notice of Sullivan or asked questions as to where he got the money from. We all thought he was a professional punter. Professional punter?
Yeah.
I think professional gambler is what they're going by here.
Professional punter is a rugby term, right?
Yeah, but they don't mean that because in Britain it's like customers or punters and things like that. So I think they mean
professional gambler.
He was a regular at the Dogs and Trots and was often at the Gallops down at Murwillumbah. Murwillumbah. That's a lot of word. He seems like the poor silly bastard just gave. It seems like the poor silly bastard gave just about all his money to the bookies. I guess nobody will really know the inside story.
Yeah.
So that's what he's up to. March 1991. This is the same month This is the same month that McSweeney. Remember the McSweeney guy who broke out with the garbage can? This is the month that he escaped with the garbage can, or with the garbage truck here. This time, they get $142,000 and 3 handguns. So they're up to 12 armed robberies at this point.
And shitloads of guns.
And bunch of guns and $2.5 million.
Yeah.
So a lot. Now, they used a name at a place called TJ's Cars in Loganholme. One of them used the name Noel Bork, Bourke, to buy the van, the High Ace van. Okay. TJ's, what they would do is, as to put up on the wall, whatever, they would take a photograph of the salesman shaking hands with the happy customer.
Yeah.
Like another satisfied,
There's one more. Yeah.
There we go. And that's what they would do. And they would display them on a big wall of photographs. So the fucked up part is the police, once they found out where the van came from and all that and traced it back, they asked about it. They said, did you take a fucking photograph for this van? And they said, yeah, we did. Wasn't on the wall. They couldn't find it. Barnett, that cop that got shot in the hip, who's figuring all this out on cold case, he said, quote, "I think there's no doubt the reason they didn't find it was because these offenders had gone back to the premises, stolen it, then waited several months to do the robbery so the salesman would have trouble describing the buyer when police came."
Stunning.
That's how careful they were.
They came back and took the photo.
By taking that.
Wow.
So this Barnett guy says, I thought it was worth another try. So I went back to the business and discovered that they actually kept all the negatives.
Fantastic.
They have the negatives, Jimmy. That's fucking insane. And so we were lucky enough to locate the negative. So when it got developed, we had a very good side profile photograph of one of the people or the person who bought the car. And the car had been used in this major armed robbery. So we had a great starting point. We finally had a photograph of someone to look for. Wow. 6 years. They finally have, that's what they have to go by. You're
Thank
happy.
Fuck they hung on to 6 years worth of negatives.
Who the fuck keeps the negatives from the photos of the salesman shaking hands with the customers? Who would keep that?
From 6 fucking years ago.
Well, no, this was recently. It was in the last year. But still, who would keep that at all?
At all.
Ever.
Yeah.
Once the roll's done, that's going in the goddamn trash. What are you going to that way we can redevelop them later on and get more pictures of salesmen who don't work in here anymore taking pictures with customers from 5 years ago. Like, why are you keeping that?
That won't come back ever again.
Why are you keeping that? So he didn't want to go public with the photograph. He thought that, he didn't know what to do with it. He said, if you put the photograph in the newspaper, it might get you a name, but it also costs you the element of surprise. This person could clean up any evidence they have. They could really change their life around and be harder to find. So he said that he did it the hard way and had to go around that rather than just releasing the photograph and saying whatever. So the car salesman had a vague memory of the customer, saying that he lived somewhere around Logan or the Gold Coast. And he said, I think he said he worked in the cleaning industry.
Yeah.
I think there's that. So that's what he's got to go by. A picture of a stranger, and I think he lived in either this place or this place and might be, quote, in the cleaning industry.
Uh-oh.
Not a lot to go by. So what he does is he takes this photo, but he does have a picture. So he takes this picture around to every business in these areas, seeing if anybody recognizes this guy. He asked about Noel Bork with the Interstate Police, New Zealand authorities. He puts it prisons, pubs, betting agencies, nightclubs, restaurants, car dealers, shopping centers.
Yeah.
Everywhere he could go where a human being could walk in, he asks about him. And they all tell him no. Then one day, he said, quote, we ended up going down to Sanctuary Cove. An inquiry we had done in the Logan area pointed us in the direction of possibly making inquiries down there. Fortuitously for us, only about 2 weeks before we arrived, a person had purchased a motorboat from the marina there and paid cash for it.
Okay.
He said, and when I showed the photograph to the salesman at the boat brokerage, he was able to immediately recognize and identify that person and give me his real name and address.
Oh, fuck.
So it was obviously the huge breakthrough we've been looking for. So
he wanted that boat in his own name.
he needs the boat. Yeah, that's what it was. He needs the boat. He wanted the boat. So he said about the whole thing. He said the car, that's about the other thing. Now, the guy they find is William Orchard, who is Gary's stepfather.
Bill Orchard, yeah.
Bill Orchard. He's 54 years old. He has a really nice canal front home at Runaway Bay on the Gold Coast. Well, yeah, he's made millions of dollars and fucking.
He's doing great.
He paid $63,000 cash in the boat or for the boat, which the surveillance crews spotted sitting outside of his home on the canal.
Yeah,
so
that's
he needed
a sick boat.
That's a nice fucking boat.
Jesus.
Yeah. Real nice boat.
$63,000 boat in the 80s?
In 91.
Oh boy.
That's a real nice boat. That's a $300,000 boat now.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's a cruiser.
So they keep an eye on him and they're watching him, and soon they identify his accomplice as Garry Sullivan, and they're like, hold on a second. They find out who he is, and they're like, the fucking rugby player? He played on the national team. Like, everyone knows who he is.
The champion?
Yeah. He's not like a nobody. Like, people are like, wait, he played on the World Cup team and won? Like, we know this fucking guy.
It's like Christian Leitner being a fucking bank robber.
Yeah. Well, that wouldn't surprise anybody. Nobody likes Christian Leitner.
He robbed banks for sure. He has a shitload of money.
Yeah, it's called the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Atlanta Hawks. He robbed all those teams.
The Olympic team, all those teams.
He was so good in college. I hate that motherfucker, but God damn it was he. Yeah. He was like Tim Duncan in college, where you're just like, well, he should be in the NBA for 2 years, not in college. He's way too good for this shit. Yeah. So they said that, quote, while we were surveilling them, we were building up a picture of both of them. It turned out that Bill Orchard had in fact been a school cleaner quite some years beforehand. He's a fucking janitor. He's a fucking school janitor, this guy. They said, so that part of the story to the salesman was in fact true. And Garry Sullivan was a former professional footballer who had represented Australia in test matches in the 1970 World Cup as a rugby league player.
Right.
So, surveillance teams discovered as they watched them, they're just being watched the whole time as they go about their business. They're spending most of their time at the racetrack. And they're watching them drop tens of thousands of dollars in cash, just hand over fist. He said, quote, while we were doing surveillance, it was essential that we got a positive identification on Bill Orchard as the person who bought the car. And it's fun to watch fucking people piss money away. He should have added to the end of that. They took the car salesman to the races and asked him to tell them if he recognized anybody. Yeah. This is their way of doing a lineup. They were just like, smart, you know anybody over there?
Here's a lineup of thousands of degenerates. Pick one.
Yeah, pick a degenerate, any degenerate. Most of them have done something, but we're looking for a specific one here. So they walked around, Barnett and the salesman walked around the whole area, in the betting area, and they found Orchard, and he goes, there's Noel Burke. I know that guy, or Bork, or whatever it is. The salesman picked him out immediately. There's the guy who bought the van. The cops are watching his house from a property on the opposite side of the canal. So they're just sitting there with binoculars going, man, these two are going to have to rob a bank soon again because they're pissing money away like crazy. There had been another armed robbery when they held up while they're being surveilled, more robberies are happening.
Wow.
That's the other thing. The Logan Village shopping center robbery happened then. During this one on August 5th, one of them wore a breathing mask and carried a weed sprayer. Like he looked like an exterminator. He was spraying for weeds. Like he landscaper. That's what I'm looking for. He approached the staff at the rear of a supermarket, telling them that he's from the council and would be dousing the local bushland with chemicals. Okay. I'm from the government and I'm here to, douse this shit with
everybody cancer.
Yeah. He said, you need to close your back roller door here so you don't get your food contaminated because it's all cancer is what I'm spraying.
This shit's crazy.
It's just liquid cancer. So, if you don't want that, do that. Which meant that when the armed van came in, the armored car came in to reverse.
Can't see shit.
They're reversed. The guards are forced to get out and approach the closed door to find out what's going on.
Yeah,
which is that's when they jump all over them. And one of the guards had a gun held to his throat. He was told to give up his weapon. They handcuffed him and pushed him to the ground.
Oh boy.
They told him they'd kill him if he didn't open the door of the van. By the way, they didn't know it at the time, but it was the same guard they robbed a year earlier at Sunnybank Hills.
Well, of all the luck.
This poor son of a bitch got robbed again by the same two assholes.
In a worse manner.
By the way, this was the guy they chained by the neck and covered in fuel.
The fucking trauma that this man has experienced.
Chained by the neck with a padlock and doused in gasoline and told he'd be set on fire unless he's told what he wants. Robbed again.
With a gun to his throat now, handcuffed and kicked to the floor. The poor bastard. Jesus.
I'd be like, bro, it's me. Wouldn't you?
We've been through this before.
Come on. Don't I get like immunity, bro? You said you'd set me on fire, man. That's fucked up. Like, for real.
Haven't you gone far enough? Come on,
This
fellas.
is enough, I
Jesus.
think, now. Don't you recognize me? You don't even recognize me? How many other people you threaten to set on fire?
Look, watch me cry. Does that look familiar?
See that? See these tears?
I'm terrified.
So they got 3 guns and $522,000.
They've taken like $1 million off of this guy alone.
This one guy. Yeah. You would think by now they would probably think he's in on it.
You'd have to, right?
You know, he got robbed twice, $1 million. You'd be like, motherfucker, you're in on this shit, aren't you?
How much money
like,
do you have, sir?
Yeah, let's go to your house. So, but that is in August, and by late October, they're broke again. They need more money. They're loving this lifestyle.
Yeah.
1991, the Queensland Police Service they didn't have multiple surveillance teams. They didn't have enough to put into this. This was like Baltimore and The Wire, where they're like, I don't know, have Herc go fucking take pictures from the roof. That's all we got. Can't afford much more than that. So on October 25th, another armored van was held up, this time at Indoor Rupilli? Indoor Rupilli. What the fuck are you people doing over there?
Is that indoor repelling?
INDOOROOPILLY.
Oh.
Indoor Rupilli. Exactly what I said. I don't know what the fuck that is.
It's
if that's
one
a town.
word?
That's one word altogether. I don't know. I'm not sure.
And that's a town?
I guess it's where they've held up a van.
Okay.
Seems like I said, they all sound like cartoon names. I don't know. Yeah. I guess he pressed a pistol to the back of a guard and said, "This is it." And the guards were told to lie face down on the ground. Orchard kicked one of them in the face without warning.
Oh,
so they're getting violent now. They stole a canister containing $116,000. Now, the guard, after they kicked the one in the face, this is not the same one they've threatened to set on fire already, and after they kicked him in the face, they told him to get up to his feet, and they use him as a shield.
Oh, my God.
And against the other guard. And he tells him, if he shoots, I'll shoot you. So that's what he tells the guard. They retreat to their getaway car, and now at this point, this is all going on while their homes are being surveilled.
Right.
So Barnett says that, quote, "We saw them return home in a rented car. We heard about the robbery. We knew they would have been responsible for it, so we decided to go in." Yeah, how much? What more are you going to wait for?
How many are you going to let them do?
You see him leave. You hear on the radio there's an armed robbery. They come home in a rental car. Let's go ahead and fucking wrap this back. Wearing overalls and an old man mask. Like, let's wrap this up.
Some questions.
Jesus Christ. So at Orchard's home, by the way, it's got a fence all around it and all that shit. They had to jump the fence and force their way into the house quickly because they knew there'd be a shitload of guns inside.
Right.
Obviously. He said it was fortunate we did because as we restrained Orchard in the bedroom, he had hanging up between his clothes and suits, he had a fully loaded sawed-off shotgun on a strap. If he'd have gotten to that, we could have had some serious action.
Yeah.
Yeah. Serious action.
Good way to say it, I guess.
Yeah, he's going to fuck them all. So between Orchard's house and Sullivan's house, police found all 18 handguns they stole from security guards.
They didn't get rid of any of them.
No, they kept them all, which is very good evidence linking them to everything. They also, in the end, they're going to say that they stole 14 armed robberies worth $3.23 million. There's an exact number I'll get to here. So throughout that night and into the following morning, that they're at the Runaway Bay police station. They have Barnett over here. He's the guy who found them. He's sitting opposite from him, and I guess Orchard told Barnett, quote, "We were terrified too, I think. We never intended to hurt anyone. We're not that bad. We might seem bad, but all in all," that's what he said. "We're not that bad. We might seem bad, but I mean, all in all,
pretty good dudes.
We could have been much worse." It's really like the disclaimer in the beginning of Small Town Murder. That's what it is, basically. Like, I mean, yeah, we're assholes.
It sounds bad.
It sounds terrible what we're going to do here, but
all in all,
I mean, come on, could be worse.
Yeah.
So the cop was like, "Okay, you've kind of threatened to set a guy on fire and all that." Yeah. He said, "What do you think the feelings of the guards were?" And Orchard said, I did feel sorry might be the word for the fellow that was out in front that I was going to put the chain on. He says he was going to. No, he did put the chain on him. Right. Barnett said, this is the cop, would it be fair to say that the plan was conceived and your actions were directed toward terrorizing one or all of the guards into handing over the money? And Orchard said, yes, we had plans to sort of terrorize them into giving us the money. Yeah, you'd be right in saying that. Yeah. You just said, we were going to terrorize them, threaten their lives, that sort of thing. But I mean, no big deal. Just going to terrorize them. They said that they said that William Orchard's tone didn't match what was going on. They said it was very formal, almost like he was dictating his memoirs, like very, very much not like, like no emotion behind, oh man, or any of that shit. He said, quote, we were going to chain them all together. That's what he said about the guards in that one robbery. That was the plan, was to chain them together. He said, it might sound, what's the word, grotesque, but we were going to do that to stop them from following us. He's just very to the point. Instead,
we were going to sew one's mouth to the next one's asshole and then so on and so forth.
Just human centipede it. And, then we were going to feed him and feed him and feed him and see what happened. It was pretty cool.
I figured it would be really hard for them to catch us on all fours.
Very difficult while they're in another guard's asshole.
Walk.
So, they said that they were shown a lighter. They're threatening to burn you alive.
Yeah.
That is grotesque. So they said that they had their 38s. They were flashing their 38 fucking handguns everywhere. There's a tomahawk. There's a lot of scary shit they're doing. Using human shields and all that sort of shit. It's pretty fucked up. So Orchard says, quote, so we were lucky to a certain degree that we never got a bullet in the back of the head. Yeah, he said, because I heard one go whizzing past from behind. I don't know whether you've had a bullet go past your ear or not, he said, but I know what and then the detective said, I actually do, because he had been shot at a bunch.
You fucking idiot.
Well, he got shot in the hip, so and then got shot in a hail of gunfire. So he said, I know what that's like. So they said that they were, quote, this is what the quote that Barnett gives about Sullivan and his stepfather. They were complete cleanskins who started robbing banks and armored cars and got very good at it. They also became increasingly violent. In one armored car robbery, they chained the guard in the front of the truck, poured petrol all over him, and threatened to set him on fire unless the people in the truck handed over the money. So people are fucking shocked that Sullivan is doing this. They always... Like I said, he's been known as a straight-laced guy.
Right.
He gambles and shit, but he's not even a drinker. So they're like, this is very weird. One Newtown and Australia Rugby League coach, Harry Bath, he said he was shocked to hear about this. He said, I nearly fell out of my chair when I heard the news about Garry. The last I heard of him was about 3 years ago running a martial arts school at Palm Beach.
Wow.
Not many knew that in his time at Newtown that he held a black belt in karate. The thing that struck me most about Garry was his immense strength. A real introvert, a loner who never really lived up to his true potential as a footballer. This business of stealing millions is so out of character.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a black belt in karate, so the kick to the thigh that knocks someone down makes more sense now.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
That makes sense.
Strong legs.
And he's athletic. Yeah, he's good. So... the most fucked up part of this is a poor bastard named Bernie Matthews. All right. He, on February 20th, 91, this is 6 months before our guys are busted here.
Right.
He's outside of his house in southwest Sydney fixing his lawnmower. He had been jailed back in 1969 for armed robbery, and he ended up escaping twice and all this type of shit.
Jesus.
He's a pain in the ass, but he ended up serving his time. And what they did is, he said, Matthews says, quote, a guy stuck his head over the fence and said, don't move, police. They forced him to the ground and handcuffed him. His wife came out at the time, and she didn't know what was going on. She was going to work. She was going to get in her car to go to work, and cops put guns on her and told her, freeze, police, and all this shit. He said he didn't know what was going on, but the detectives told him that they had a warrant for him for extradition on a charge of robbery of an armored van in Sunnybank.
Jesus.
So They hustled him off to court where he said, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I didn't rob that shit. I've been at my house with my lawnmower and my fucking wife. They fucking extradited him, called him a dangerous man with convictions for robbery and fleeing prison. Yeah. And they held him in jail. Wow. The testimony of a former lover, Crown witness Jillian Ann Ellis, and an alleged record of interview. What is this? Okay. They said Inspector Davidson of Task Force Magnum. You know he named that. He's like, that makes us sound like we have huge dicks, doesn't it? Task Force Magnum. Cocks are coming. An elite squad attached to the NSW State Investigative Group alleged at Matthews' committal hearing at a Brisbane court that in the company of another detective, he had spoken to Matthews at the Liverpool Police Department. Now, according to this guy, this Davidson, he said, Matthews said, quote, I've heard of you, Davidson, the front end loader. That's what you're known as in the system. And Inspector Davidson replied, do you understand your rights about not having to say anything? And Matthews said, yes. Now, what do you blokes have to do with it? And they said the Queensland police have a warrant. They're saying you stole $694,000 from a Sunny Bank and all this shit. And they said that he had a shed that he was renting by himself. Inside the shed, they found a sawed-off shotgun, 2 replica pistols, ammunition, and several stolen checkbooks. And he said, I offer you the opportunity to explain your possession of those items. And he said, I've got nothing to say about any of that. He said, my group has made police like you out of date. You can't get nothing in as evidence now unless it's on video. I'll have you walking a beat in Wilcannia by the time we finish our campaign on you. You can hang up your handcuffs.
That's ballsy.
So then Inspector Davidson said that Matthews then said, quote, I'll tell you this, all the stuff in the shed is mine, and I done that job in Sunnybank. Now you just have to try to prove it.
Okay.
So his ex, whatever the fuck, Jillian Ann Ellis, said that they were once involved in a sexual relationship and that he had accompanied her to court in 1986 when she appeared and was jailed on a conspiracy to commit armed robbery charge. Ellis said she remembered one conversation with Matthews where he had been planning a job for some time and it would be the biggest job he'd ever done. He said it would be an armored car and it would be in excess of $500,000. Mm-hmm. Now, later in the hearing, Ellis said she overheard Matthews and 2 other men talking in a house in 1990. She said, I didn't hear all the details, but I believe the robbery they were talking about was to be in Queensland. And so she said she heard another guy saying that he was going to help out with the job and all this type of thing. She also said that Matthews opened a briefcase in front of her house on April 8th and told her it contained about $400,000.
Wow.
She also said he had 2 revolvers, a pistol, and a sawed-off shotgun. So he was sent to jail on 5 charges. They keep him a week in solitary confinement, all this type of shit. They're considering what to do with this guy. They call him, his lawyer says the closest comparison I can make with this is the Harry Blackburn case, saying that he's wrongly accused. He said there's a view that this can't happen, but it can happen. All this type of shit. Turns out it's not him. It's them that stole the fucking money. And they knew it because that police force had been surveilling Orchard and Sullivan they knew it happened, but they thought another police force assumed that this Matthews guy did it, then went into court and fucking lied about the confession because they figured he did it anyway. We'll just say he confessed to it, but he didn't fucking do it. So this cop looks like a real fucking asshole now when the real people who actually did it have evidence, have the guns, that the serial numbers that go back to the crime, and they admit to doing it. This cop's got to go, oh, maybe I misheard Matthews in the oh, maybe he didn't say he did it and all this shit. So they got some fucking trumped up witness to come in and say some bullshit, and then had the cop lie and say that I guess he lied. The guy didn't. Why the fuck would the guy admit to doing something in a cocky way when he didn't even do it? That's insane.
Well, because they still have to prove it.
That is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Cheryl Matthews, his wife, said, quote, this is about the grief families suffer. No one wants to know about the children and the women's side of these circumstances.
Yeah.
The past keeps getting thrown up in my face. When does the punishment end? When does it end?
I guess when you stop dating bad guys.
I mean, Jesus Christ, you got to feel bad for this guy, though. He tried to turn his life around. He's not robbing banks. They're bringing him in there, telling him you're a scumbag.
Yeah.
If they didn't catch these other two, he's going to prison for this shit.
Probably for life.
Straight up. They said he admitted to it, and he's got a record of being a bad guy. I mean, you got to feel bad for this guy. I mean, you feel bad for anyone mistaken as Garry Sullivan, but not nearly as bad as I feel for Garry Sullivan, head of middle and upper school at Brookstone School. He's got a master's in education in Columbus, Ohio. Says he's a husband to a wonderful wife and a dad to 3 awesome kids. Educator and learner, rugby and tennis coach. See? And he spells his name with 2 R's, just like our guy. So I'm like, what the fuck, man? He says he is South African living in the U.S. Apparently he's from South Africa. That's why he likes rugby. Garry Sullivan, qualifying broker at Aronov Realty in Montgomery, Alabama. I don't know. Yeah. But Garry Sullivan, executive director, construction management and engineering at Northeast ISD in San Antonio, Texas. He was in the Army as well. Garry Sullivan, senior telecom analyst at Nestle in Stamford, Connecticut. And finally, Garry Sullivan, managing director at UK Scaffolding, Inc. There's that. Oh, sorry. Garry Sullivan, protective coatings specialist at Sherwin-Williams in the greater Birmingham area. So now we go to court. Orchard and Sullivan here. They say that once they're captured, they fully cooperate immediately. They're like, nope, you got us. Yep. Yeah. Like, it was very like, nope. Yeah. That's what happens. All done. They're interviewed over a course of 3 days. I guess at the end of which they consented to ex officio indictments. This is an Australian legal procedure where someone can be indicted even if the committal proceedings haven't taken place or if it was found during those proceedings that there wasn't enough evidence to go to the trial. The director of public prosecutions can file this and make them stand trial. I guess during the course of the interviews, each of them made full confessions in respect to at least 3 of the offenses. They said that they wouldn't be able to convict them on some of them without the confessions. Within 6 weeks, they end up being ready to plead guilty here. The chief prosecutor told the court that they had committed 14 armed robberies over 6.5 years in Brisbane, Logan City, and the Gold Coast between May 85 and October 91. They netted up to $700,000 in each of the raids, mainly committed on armored vans or collecting or depositing money at banks. And the prosecutor said the crimes were, quote, banditry on a scale that has not been seen before in Queensland. Banditry. I like that.
Yeah,
banditry. That is wonderful. That's in the Old West. You could specialize in banditry.
You could.
That's pretty awesome. He likened their armed robberies to England's Great Train Robbery of 1963, which, by the way, we've covered on this show. As fucked up as that is. Yeah, remember Roy James was part of that.
Yeah.
The race car driver, which 2.5 million pounds were stolen. So on December 13th, 1991, Orchard and Sullivan are convicted of 12 offenses of armed robbery in company and 2 offenses of armed robbery in company with personal violence. The offenses involved, like we said there, total was $3,278,185 stolen.
Holy shit.
Jesus Christ. Most of the money was lost through gambling. And so they said that the offense was extremely serious, including the 6th largest robberies ever in Queensland in terms of money taken at the time. Now it's been overtaken. The offenses were all carefully planned and skillfully executed, with the respondents masked and armed with loaded firearms. Their explanation, what they told the court, this is wild. Because the judge is like, all right, well, before I sentence you.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
Why did you do this? They said that I swear to God, in court, the Orchard said, sick of work. Sick of working, man. Just sick of it.
Tired of cleaning up puke from your fucking kids. Would rather do it this way.
Tired of working long hours and menial jobs for little money. Wanted to get it a different way. We're sorry. We expressed regret. Probably shouldn't have done it. The sentencing judge concluded that neither is likely to reoffend when released. They said, we don't think you guys will. You seem to have learned your lessons. You, sir, you sirs, may fuck off. They are sentenced to 20 years each in jail.
Okay.
With a non-parole period of 7.5 years. So they got to do 7.5 years
At
each.
least, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what they're sentenced to. While in prison at the Blatantness Correctional Center in Queensland, Garry Sullivan coached rugby in the prison leagues.
Of course he did.
Seems right.
Yeah.
He played rugby league for Australia, but in 1999, or back in the day, in 99, he was leading the over 50s with the over 50s against the young bloods for the Borrolon Jail Cup in Queensland.
Okay.
So he's the
Playing
fucking
in the cup in jail.
The Jail Cup. Yeah, he's leading the men over 50 in the Jail Cup tournament. Sullivan's. This is great. Okay, never mind. There's that. So those who played for him remember him as a quote honorable man. They said. Bernie Matthew. Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. They said, okay, Bernie Matthews here, the guy who got busted by accident. He says, why does anybody get into crime? There's no definite answer. But given the transition from rugby league to a great professional armed robber, he retains a lot of respect on both sides of the walls and razor wire.
Wow.
They love him. They think he's a fucking he's like an old West Jesse James bank robber. It's fucking crazy.
I mean, he didn't kill anybody. He certainly fucked the man up forever.
No, he can't be doing that shit.
No.
That's crazy, man. Come on, God, that poor bastard he robbed twice. I can't get over that.
I feel so bad for him.
In 2010, he was named at lock forward in the Curry Rugby League's Team of the Century.
What?
So apparently he's as good as they've had in the Curry League.
They do not hate him at all.
Nope. On the Century team. Now, here's something I can't find, but I kept seeing it referenced, but I could not find evidence of it, that we know that he was one of the Australia's top 10 most wanted. Right. These guys were. They said that he escaped from jail at one point, Sullivan, but then was recaptured after he stole a toothbrush in South Australia. They caught him for stealing the toothbrush, found out who he was, and put him back in jail. Yeah. I couldn't find the actual, any coverage of that, though. All I find is an anecdote later on, so I don't know if it's true or not. Okay. I'll put that in there. Can't get enough of Garry Sullivan? Yeah. Well, you can go on Australian eBay and buy a 1971 mobile, like the gas, rugby league card of Garry Sullivan. It looks like it's got, one of those fake autographs on it. Looking pretty good. $25 in Australia for that. So you can get that. It's from 71. It looks like it's in mint condition. It's from 71.
That's
so
still steep.
Still a little steep. There's a bunch of Garry Sullivan shit out there. Really? All sorts of cards, rugby cards and shit.
He's out of jail by now and probably being a dickhead somewhere.
I'm sure he's coaching rugby or teaching martial arts or something, but
Jesus.
He had quite the fucking run, man. That was wild. I don't even know what to say about that. That was just insane. We'll just rob 14 banks.
Please reach out and tell us what you're doing today.
No shit, man. Just that you're not robbing people.
Not being an asshole.
Yeah, don't wrap chains around people's necks, please. That seems like a bad
really
idea.
That's a really shitty move.
That's a bad move. So that said, that is Garry Sullivan in some Australian rugby for some fun there. Hope you enjoyed. It's a fucking crazy story. They stole over $3 million, $3.2 million. That's crazy.
And got out of prison eventually.
Oh, yeah. They did 7.5 years each. The judge said, we don't think you're going to reoffend, which means they got out immediately. If your sentencing judge on your record says they don't think you're going to reoffend, they're going to let you out on parole.
Probably.
So that's what the system thinks of you at that point. That's in your records. So there you go. If you enjoyed that, tell the world, tell everybody.
Please.
Get on Apple Podcasts, get on Spotify, Stitcher. You can rate on Spotify now, finally. And Audible. If you're an audiobook listener, get on Audible and do it. Even if you don't, get on there, help us out. Do that. head over to shutupandgivememurder.com right now, and you can get lots of stuff. First of all, merchandise. Any kind of merchandise you want, it'll have "You Sir May Fuck Off" on it or whatever the fuck you want. Yay or Grim Karen or anything else. It's all on there. You can find that. And also on there, you can find tickets not only to live shows throughout 2022, but especially to our virtual live show. It's a Small Town Murder episode. Don't get us wrong here. Right. Small Town Murder, February the 10th, and it'll be available for 72 hours after that as well. You can get those tickets either at shutupandgivememurder.com or momenthouse.com/Small Town Murder. Either or, get your tickets now because we're going to have a blast with that shit. We really like those virtual live shows.
They're so fun.
We can let loose on them, and God damn, it was the last one amazing that we did. So we're going to have just as good another one here coming up. We can't wait to do that. Get your tickets for all of that right now. Also, you can follow us on social media. We are at Crime and Sports on Twitter and Facebook, and at Small Town Murder on Instagram. Keep up to date on everything like that. New, because if you have tickets for some of the shows that got rescheduled, you can find out how that worked. Everything like that. Not all that aside, patreon.com/crime and sports, people. This is what we need to discuss. Amazing stuff this week on Patreon, and anybody $5 or above, you're going to get access to the whole everything. Crime and Sports, Small Town Murders. And if you're not listening to Small Town Murder, what the fuck is wrong with you? There's so much craziness going on there, but Patreon, you get access to everything. You're going to get about 4 episodes a month, sometimes more. It's good stuff. So this week, what we're going to give you is, and you get access to everything. Like we said, for Crime and Sports, we are going to talk about on the field incidents that caused real life arrests. Yeah. So you did some illegal shit on the field that you think, oh, I can get a penalty for that, and then you're handcuffed. So
you played a game with real life consequences.
Yeah, you have to break the rules hard to get arrested in a fucking game. So that's really a lot. I mean, that's a lot. So that'll be crazy people doing crazy shit. And then for Small Town Murder, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Tony Alamo cult, which we touched on a couple episodes ago. One of our murderers was involved in it. But we're going to focus especially on, and we'll talk about all the crazy, gross shit they did, and we'll breeze over it. We're going to really focus on the fact that they also made an entire fashion line that was worn by every major celebrity in the 80s, and then nowadays has come back roaring into fashion. These fucking original jackets made by cult slave labor. People are like, yeah, that's cool. Like, it's fucking insane. We'll get into all that and talk about it because it's too fucking weird, man. It needs itself an hour and a half to get into because it's crazy. So get those and get the whole back catalog. There's over 100 episodes, so much bonus stuff. Patreon.com/crime and sports. And you'll get a shout out. Jimmie will mispronounce your name in just a moment here while trying desperately to pronounce it properly. And on top of that, also, you can just, if you want to go to PayPal, you don't get the bonus stuff, but you do get the shout out and our undying love and affection. Just use our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com.
Yes,
and that said, Jimmie, I think it's time. I think it's time to lay on me the list of the people who would never, ever, ever wrap chains around our neck, put a padlock on it, and then soak us in gasoline and threaten to set us on fire if we didn't have a show ready. Jimmie, hit me with the names of those wonderful people.
This week's executive producers are Stephen Dean, Loida Cardone Arvonia. Is that right?
Oh, Loida. That's my grandmother.
Yeah.
Loida Cardone
That was the whole point. It was in her memory that somebody donated.
That's very nice.
A very nice donation. Thank you so much. Jordan Bennett, Tracy Renninger, Nicholas Ferranci, and Ferranci maybe? The Herbal Painter, I think in New Hampshire. Those are the exact. Thank you guys truly for everything you do for us, especially
seriously,
people donating in names of deceased relatives. That's so sweet. Thank you,
sweet of you guys. Thank you so much.
Other producers this week are Brett Bendall, Joe Ruffino, Sex Murderer. What the fuck?
Jesus.
Patricia Cuniff Reagan. Carol Braun's mom passed away. That's who Patricia is.
Oh, we're sorry.
Sorry, Carol. Hang in there. Thank you so much for hanging with us. Elizabeth Vela, Peyton Meadows, Frank the South African Birdwatching Whore, James Martyr, also Frank the South African Bird Washer.
Yeah.
Now we have people donating in in duels, I guess, to call people a whore. Jesus Christ. Jessica Cooley, great. Liz Vasquez, Natalie Yulvin, Hudson and Whiskey at Centeno Kennels in Ontario, Donald Duishbag, Esquire. Well, I don't know who that is. That's a reference to something I know.
I don't know.
Catherine Collado, Paul Fankhauser, happy hour in Tucumcari, New Mexico. He was just up in New Hampshire last week. The guy, he donates for whatever town he's listening in this week because he's a long-haul trucker.
That's awesome. Thank you.
That's his handle, Happy Hour.
Oh, appreciate
Brian Killian, Melissa Donaldson Zeeb, Holly Prishu, Moondog Rex, but not Moondog Spot.
That's a tag team wrestler.
Yes. Jeff Chanel, Janice Hill, Grace going through gene therapy. Hang in there, Grace. Michael Holmesmith. Doug Jones, Nicole Enaclarico, I think. Jeff Shrewsbury, happy birthday, Luca DeLuca. Not just
happy
Luca.
birthday.
It's Day Luca. Thomas Smith, Rabbi Shmulovich and Shitta Perlman, Dr. Myron Dickstein. What the fuck?
Sure.
Jesus.
Why not?
Christy Allerhead, Christine Leister, KP Planners, Molly Hewitt, Georgette King, Laura Corbett, Kayla Drayton, Katie Griffin, Nick Prochaska, Jesus, Devin W, Debbie Shirier, I think, Louise with no last name, Sheila Hamilton, John McGuire, Nope, that's Jace Kuhn, Forrest Baldwin, Jake with no last name, Amy Crawford, Melissa Klein, Letitia Wamick.
One of those.
Oh, boy. Karina Mullins, she got 2. Thank you so much, Karina.
Thank you.
Christian with no last name, this guy, Winston Shao, Noel Darville, keyboard, probably not, Louis Tran, Mickey DeMouse, pseudonymous. Oh, boy. Nick Lorenzen, Sydney Dryden, Jennifer Bartz, Jess McMahon, Taylor Jones, Ryan Romine, Michael with no last name, Chris Baer, Lee Laney, Rachel Santoro, Jessica with no last name, Tasha Gray, Gracie Hedrick, Mary Eakin, Ruthie Murray, and Angelina Beal, Katie Brown, Post Espresso, POS Depresso? I don't know. Alexander Merker, Johnny Blaze? Probably not. Nicholas Dykstra? Also probably not. Amber Swain, Michael with no last name, Celia Gelpy, Zoe McLean, Scott Prote, Tanya Pyant, David Nickerson. Careful with that one. Nikki Lopez, Kaya with no last name, Carl Morrell, Haley with no last name. Say it again.
You're a mess.
I am. Rebecca Higley, Alex Stanley Stretch, Trista Jones, Kimberly Birch, Chelsea with no last name, Bianca with no last name, Jessica McGovern, Jennifer Hughes, Mackenzie Bell, Alexandra Ann Blue Wilson. Nope, that's AKA Blue Wilson. Jamie Cocking. Careful. Annie Molina, Felipa Rebella de Andrade, Ken Miller, Don Schaefer, Pat Brown, Dana Duncan, Allie, nope, that's just Al, Rodabaugh.
Hey, it's like fucking Al.
Yeah, Rodabaugh. Like Christian Slater in Young Guns was Rodabaugh, right? Or Rudabaugh?
Oh, God, I haven't seen it in too long.
It was Dave Rudabaugh. That's it.
Okay.
Ryan Waller, Thomas McBride, Polly Rubio, Michelle Che, Janice Pinnell, Joey Pepperoni Nips.
That one always gets us.
They got me. Callie with no last name, Joel with no last name, Jessica Bell, Patrick with no last name, Jason Rimbert, Benjamin Brockmeyer, Thomas Gorman, Jordan Nickel, Becca Wright, Stephanie Lewis, Katie Jo Henry, Abigail Steinhardt, Doc with no last name, Miriam Katz, Ashley Cochran, Jesse, nope, that's Stephanie Hoffman, Kimmy Jackson, and Kimmy Jackson Dzabidzinski.
Yeah.
Teresa Summers, Anthony Savage, Becky Daniels, Rochelle Howell, Luke Casey, Sunny Dawn, Jessica Gnarly, Workhorse, Carrie Tomlin, Jake Boothman, Mark Gordon.
Those are very different names that you just said.
Keanu Himalaya, Tucker Derstein, Julian K, Rhonda Webb, Megan with no last name, Deanna Shelton, Heather Murphy, Tyler Martinez, Miller Waste Man, Markham, Ontario, Casey Kampf, Chloe Grog, Rochelle DeFlorio, Tamron with no last name, Candace Lopez, Beth Young, Caitlin Cunningham, Harrison Holcomb, Sarah McGrath, Louise Peterson, Laura with no last name, Christine Fowler, Christine Delosier, Neil Wilson Jr., Emily Cunningham, Brandon Steele Wyatt, Jess, nope, that's Thomas Grace, Matt,
very different names again.
Kim with no last name, Sarah Ann TJ, Jared Lex, Sam Beard, Shayna Noyes, Cora Jarrett, Andrew Younker, Lisa Rust, Isaac Schultz, Joshua Wilson, Tara Gale, Nick Mason, Scott Bouland, Monica Young, Tanith Reynolds, Walter Doe, Jordan Zander, Cody Gochner. Oh, boy. Kayla Moss, George Sterling, Jolene with no last name, Katie Mossman, Heather Punt, Thomas Beck, Isaac Bickford, D. Jagstad, Carly Marie, Heather Stiles, Kevin Brown, Sabrina Dunkley, Katie Reberg, Nathan Cole, D. Quantarella, Crystal Carol Spear, Faith Marie Dutcher, Carl Micken, Allison Greg ACC. What's an ACC? David Klassen.
Atlantic Coast Conference.
I think she is. Lisa Trubikowski Brown, Richard Chase, Jacob Workman, Nikki with no last name, Amanda Kalunga, Donovan Gilbert, Jeff Dick, Julie Rudquist, Jessica Schatt, Nick Thurman, Devontae Thomas, Megan Mater, Jen Bandman, Jillian Cass, Allison Zoltowski, Jesse Lindman, Angela Dodgson, Vicky Schulenberg, Dan M, and Terry Ward, Emily Lucia, Julia Shojan, Brandon Bellafaus, what? Natalie, nope, that's Kelly Hassett, Brian Hurtgen, Taryn Stein, Alex Love, Shelby Sharma, Kelsey Allen, Robin Pesco, Roos with no last name, Mark Woo, I love Woos.
Woo.
Woo's a good, like Deadwood. The guy's
Hang
name
die.
is Woo. Yeah.
Hang die.
Kristen Newkirk, Jane
Hang
Zia, Grayson Lamb, Chase Robertson, Diana Foster, Kara Sin Horster, and all of our patrons. You guys are fucking amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, from the bottom of our shriveled, dead, cold black hearts. We appreciate everything that you do for us every goddamn week. Thank you. And once again, thank you for all of your wonderful wishes for my family and everything after Grandma died.
Unbelievable people.
Really sweet of you. And everybody, my family noticed, people that didn't even know what the fuck a podcast was were like, well, who are these nice people that like, the people were so nice. So thank you for everything that you've done for that. Jimmie, what if they wanted to thank you? How could they find you out there?
It's enough of me. They've
enough
heard
of us. If you want,
find me if you want me. You'll find
me. If you want to find us, Google the show. Crime and Sports Hosts. We're both there. You can't miss us. There's only one show called Crime and Sports. Find it. Yeah, we're up your asses enough. You don't need us anymore. So do that. I don't think anybody else says that. No. You've had enough. You've probably had enough of us. That's how fucking humble we are. We're like, you've had enough, probably.
Thursday. Find me there.
Yeah, we'll be out later on in the week when Small Town Murder comes out. So that said, thank you for joining us on another crazy episode. Very fun to go back to Australia. And live from the Crime and Sports Studios, we will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.